Those turkeys dick me this morning.
Did you go turkey hunting?
Yeah.
You still beating your ass?
A lot of hens. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom! And welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Ducks Unlimited. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver.
Man, I got to fix your picture behind you.
What's wrong?
All cockeyed.
I couldn't see it.
Drives me nuts whenever
Well, good.
I'm editing videos and that motherfucker's all cockeyed.
It's still crooked.
It ain't crooked.
No, it's not. Fixed it. Picture of Dad with a bunch of mallards, a bunch of green heads. Dad would be so embarrassed these days.
About what?
The country.
Oh.
The shit in Chicago. Whew. The Windy City has become shit show central. Gosh.
Have you ever been?
Yes, I've been to Chicago 3-4 times probably. It's nothing great.
Even when it was
You realize
good.
we're basically going to be in Chicago on Friday.
Even when it was good, it was not.
Oh, it was like all the big cities, though.
I don't know about that.
I'm going to tell you something.
Big cities, I would go. I haven't been to a whole lot of big cities, so Dallas-Fort Worth is up there.
Yeah.
No, fuck. But I like New York City. A lot of people don't think that.
I love New York City.
I really, really enjoy New York City.
I do, too.
Now, I have not been in the last decade, but I don't think I have been. I think the last time I was there was our honeymoon. But it was a nice city. Had a vibe to it, Jeff. You're moving and shaking. You feel like you're a mover and shaker there. You're not a mover and shaker, but you can feel like one.
I like New York City. New York City is one of my favorite
I
cities.
was not impressed with Chicago, though.
Chicago's. You weren't in Chicago. You was in Elgin.
We went downtown today, and it wasn't for me.
It's just a big city.
It's just a big city. That's all it is. Now it's a shithole big city.
Listen to this shit. So, anyways, on Saturday night, they had some kind of event. I think it was just Loot and Rob event was the name of the event. Should have been called. But the problem in our country right now is feral kids.
It's just feral.
We have way too many children with no parents at home. None. And the ones that are home are doing a shitty job. And this guy's going to plug me again on this shit because he does. Yes, we had some shitty parents when I was a kid growing up too. But it was not accepted in public like it is now.
Right.
This is the new mayor-elect, Brandon Johnson of Chicago. His exact quote: "It is not constructive to demonize youth who have otherwise been starved for opportunities in their own communities." So basically, go fucking rob Louis Vuitton if you want to and break out windows and steal shit, tear up a car. Did you see the Tesla that they set on fire?
Mm-mm.
The caption,
That's too bad.
the black alderman from there. You know what he says?
Mm-mm.
Them Tesla's batteries are just dangerous. It just exploded. Yeah, because someone set the motherfucker on fire. They don't put the battery on the fucking driver's side door. They set the car on fire.
Well, that's what you're doing it right, Jeff.
If you live in Chicago and you voted in this shit, you deserve exactly what the fuck you're getting now.
Problem is, not many of our listeners did.
No.
But I'd leave.
It's a shithole. I'd get the fuck out of there so fast. If I had a business. Now, Walmart's taking 4 stores out of the shit neighborhoods. And let me tell you something. I don't know what the good neighborhoods are, but we're going to name the good neighborhood in Chicago. We're going to call it Enterprise. Enterprise, Illinois. Made up name. Don't even think there's really an Enterprise. Enterprise, Illinois. It's got homes that cost $250,000 to $1 million.
Schaumburg's nice.
What is it?
Schaumburg.
Okay, Schaumburg. Okay, Schaumburg. Schaumburg's got houses that start at $250,000, probably up to $5 or $10 million. Rows of them. They have a golf course there. They have a country club. Mm-hmm. They have a racket club. They have crumble cookies. They have cheesecake factories. They got French restaurants there. They have nice places to go shop. They got a Ralph Lauren store there. They got a Louis Vuitton store. You know what they don't have? Crime. Why is that? Why are the same kids that are growing up in this neighborhood not running up and down the street, setting shit on fire and looting?
In Schaumburg?
Yes. Why is it not happening?
Nice place to live, Jeff.
Tell me why those kids don't do that shit.
Well, I'll just see what the crime rate is in Schaumburg.
Okay, let's look it up.
Neighborhood Scout. I'm assuming dark purple. Maybe Schaumburg's pretty bad.
Okay, then you picked the wrong city.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Hillendale.
But that's pretty bad.
Okay, well then pick another one. You're the one that picked fucking Schaumburg.
Well,
not me.
it was a nice. It's got a Lou Malnati's there.
They have what?
Lou Malnati's, or maybe it was Giordano's. I don't know.
So you're going to buy a fucking pizza place. That's how you're naming it.
Okay, 100%.
Here, I'll do it like this.
100%.
Safest neighborhoods in St. Louis. It says go somewhere else.
Huh.
Safest neighborhood, Edison Park. Well, here.
Works for me.
Well, fuck, I got it right here now. They've got it right here.
I really enjoyed my time in Schaumburg. It's a shame to see it going downhill.
It's a pizza place is what you went there for.
It's a shame.
Okay. Safest neighborhoods in Chicago from FBI crime reports, Edison Park. Edison Park is the safest one. But in Edison Park, why are those kids there different than the kids that grow up in the shitty part of town? I'm saying it's because they have a mom and dad at home.
Probably so.
Mom and dad both have an education. They don't have any Section 8 housing there.
Not to play the race card.
But we're fixing to.
But I'm fixing to.
Okay, go ahead.
Edison Park is 82% white. Now, among white people, there's only a 20%. I think the divorce rate's 20. I think 20% of white children
Or
only
single-parent
have
families.
a mother. 70% of black.
72%.
Is it 72?
It's
We'll round
28%
down.
white, 72% because they made 100 almost exactly. I think it was 28%
Right.
of white kids that grow up in a single parent home, and 72% of black kids grow up with just a mom, a grandma, or a dad or something.
So
whatever
there's
they
your
have.
difference.
Okay.
The nuclear family.
So it's the nuclear family, the one that the government's totally against and they want to put down all the time.
Hmm.
That's the problem, right?
Yes.
Okay. Another reason why, though, is they have respect.
Yeah.
You don't just go tearing up and belittle and tearing shit up. And then we don't make excuses for him, because if I see a kid and he's being an asshole, he's an asshole. 100 way. I don't give a shit what color you are. Someone in Chicago has got to step up. Memphis, Tennessee, St. Louis, all these neighborhoods. Somebody is going to have to not be politically correct and call it what it is. We have a black problem in our community in these big towns.
No.
Yes, we do.
That's not what it is at all.
Then what is it?
We have a nuclear family problem.
And it's attacking these black communities.
Yes.
I'm not knocking black people. I'm just saying that's the problem. Nobody wants to talk about that, though. Everybody wants to sugarcoat this shit. The black community has a problem. They have no parents in the home.
With single motherhood.
Yes, and they also have, if you're a black teenager, if you have a black teenager for a kid, I wouldn't be worried about him getting shot by a cop. I'd be worried about him getting shot by another black kid.
If I lived in Chicago, yes.
Memphis, St. Louis, Baton Rouge, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio.
You're not going to fix the problem.
Abilene, Texas. I'll bet you in Abilene, Texas, there's been more black teenagers shot by other black kids than they have by a cop.
Well, until you quit subsidizing single motherhood, you're not going to fix the problem.
Bingo. Section 8 apartments. Terrible. I lived in a nice neighborhood. I'm tired of all the fucking cherry picking and making excuses for shit. We got a problem we need to fix in our country, and we got to start educating these black young kids. We have to. Quit making them think the cops are all bad, because the cops ain't all bad. We got to quit making them think that they can't achieve anything they want to and that they should be looking down on themselves because white people have it better, and quit using white people as an excuse for everything. A guy gets thrown out of a basketball game this weekend. He's a rich guy, Golden State guy, travels with them and shit, named E40 or something. Never even heard of him. He's a rapper, but that don't mean nothing. Anyways, he got thrown out of a game. Why? Because he's black. Wasn't because you're making a fucking ass of yourself. It's because you're black. Shannon Sharp did not get thrown out of a basketball game at first because why? He's a black celebrity. If it would have been me doing what Shannon Sharp was doing, they'd have chunked my ass and I'd never been able to go to a game again. So, which, are we going to cherry pick what we're using excuses?
He's a celebrity.
That's
he goes
right.
to all of them. So.
But he got by with that because he was a black celebrity. Any celebrity probably would have got the same deal he did, but it's a rich man deal. He got by with that, but they didn't come out and say, well, he's black because he didn't get thrown out because he's black. Well, that helped him. But I'm so sick and tired of race as being a factor in every fucking thing that happens. I get so sick and tired if someone black doesn't win something, they say it's a race deal. It's not a race deal. You know, those neighborhoods are being overtaken by these black feral kids, and they're ruining society in these places, and nobody does nothing about it because they don't want to offend nobody. Well, are you going to let everything get burned up? Walmart's closing all their stores but 4 in the Chicago area or something, what I read. Mm-hmm. A guy, black alderman, come out and he says, it's bullcrap. They shouldn't do that. People should have a right to buy food. Well, if I'm own a business and I'm getting tired of people stealing my shit, I'm going to close it down too. Walmart is correct me if I'm wrong, is Walmart about making a profit?
Most of the time.
So if they can't make a profit somewhere, would you close your store?
Yes.
If you owned a store, would you put it in any of these neighborhoods right now?
No.
No, of course not.
Not a shot.
Is it because there are black people there? Or is it because of the way they do things?
No, it's because it's going to get fucking looted and burned
Bingo.
down.
But when is a black person going to step up and say, we got to help our black young kids?
There's plenty of them.
No, there's not plenty.
Yes, there is. There's a bunch of them.
Why don't you see it on the news then?
Because you're not watching it's not on the right news. It's on Fox News. It's the only one that's covering it.
Well, I don't even watch Fox News. But nobody's holding them accountable. We need to go into these schools. We need to go into schools in these inner cities.
Whitlock's holding them accountable.
They don't. Black people hate him.
Well, I mean, you're not gonna. I mean, if any black guy does stand up and say this, of course they're gonna.
They're an Uncle Tom.
But I mean, who's gonna say it? There's nobody out there. That Larry Elders guy. I think he's condemned it plenty.
Here's what we need. This comes from an old white guy.
Well, this is also pie in the sky because it's not going to happen.
No, it's not. But I want to talk about it.
Okay.
Can I?
Sure.
We got all these kids from pre-K to 6th grade. You can't do shit with a kid in junior high or high school. They're already smarter than you are anyways, and they've already been educated. You need to go in with these kids that are pre-K to 6th grade in these inner city schools, and you need to show them that they can achieve whatever they want in life besides being a drug dealer or a gangbanger. And we got to go in and show them that color of your skin doesn't matter, because these kids are growing up hating white people right now. You know, you should like people for who they are and they treat you good. Teach them about God. Go to church. Get them involved in church and get them involved in school and doing extracurricular activities that doesn't include hanging out on street corners at nighttime. That's the group of kids they're going to have to get a hold of to get this changed, because it's getting worse and worse. It's horrible. I'm going to New York City in 3 weeks. I'm not really excited about it right now.
No, I wouldn't be. I'd cancel my trip. I'd be scared to death.
No, you wouldn't.
There you go. Larry Elder. The welfare state has incentivized women to marry the government and men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility. In 1965, 25% of black children entered the world without a father, married to a mother. Now it's 70%. Can't blame it on slavery, Jim Crow, or Donald Trump.
Okay, that's the numbers that white people are at right now.
What?
At 25%.
Right.
So I'm telling you right now, the trend we're going, it's going to be white kids the same way too. Feral kids is what they are. Kids, no parents, nobody tells them what to do, nobody holds them accountable.
Just wild.
But we always demonize people like me and you. But you know what? We raised our kids. You're raising your kids. Your boys don't think that way. They're behaved. They're respectful. I raised 3 boys that way. It's not our fault. We did our part to society. These other people have got to do something. But quit blame. If the system is what screwed up. You take a neighborhood. I lived in North Dallas when I was in college, and I lived in a really nice neighborhood. And I would guess this is 1988, 89, and the median home probably in the neighborhood I lived in was a $250,000 to $350,000 house, which was a really nice house back then. And I lived in a really great neighborhood, and a good neighborhood, good enough that Tony Dorsett's friend lived across the cul-de-sac from us, and he was at his house almost every day. I mean, it was a nice neighborhood. And I would run at night. I used to jog every night, believe it or not. I'd go run every night, and I didn't worry about a gun, mace, anything. Like, I'd just go run. And there was people in our neighborhood walked and stuff. They were building apartments then. There were Section 8 apartments. You go to that same neighborhood now, and there's bars and windows, and there's jacked up cars parked in the yards and shit, because they thought they needed to bring Section 8 apartments in there to kind of diversify the neighborhood. And what it did is it killed the neighborhood.
But there's got to be an answer for that too, though.
I don't understand that, because
I
think
poor people?
Yeah,
there's got to be an answer for poor people.
Yeah, they can go out and get an education and get a job, and we won't be poor forever.
It's not that simple.
It is that simple. How is it not? I grew up poor.
It's just it's not that simple. There's a lot of things that hold people back.
Most of it's called motivation.
Well, There's a little bit of that, but if you don't have the proper foundation, then you're building the house on sand. It's never gonna stand up.
So
Everybody can get up there and get on their soapbox and say these people need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but how many generations did it take to get here? It's taken what, 2? 3?
to get where?
1965 to now, that's 2 generations, right?
About 3.
Okay. It's going to take you that many generations to get out of this easily. But
each individual can get out of it.
No, your divorce rate, it's not that simple. This is a fundamental belief that these people have that they're passing down to their children. You're not going to fix it overnight. It's going to take 50 years to fix this problem, if we even get it done then. Your divorce rate 70%.
The divorce rate's not 70%.
Single motherhood. I'm sorry. Yes.
I'm betting you. I bet you only 10% of them even got married.
Right. This is going to be a 50-year problem, easily.
But it's gotten so worse in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
It's gotten horribly worse, and I don't see it getting any better.
No, it's not going to for 50 years until enough people have had enough, and they start attacking the root cause, which is single motherhood, which is fatherlessness. Young men growing up without a father it's detrimental to everything that they have going on because they don't know how to play well with others. It's going to take 50 years to fix it, at least.
It's just the lack of respect between adults is what's crazy. And and there's nothing more dangerous than a 14 to 24-year-old pissed off kid.
Dumb,
boy or girl. It don't matter. The girls are as bad as the guys are.
Yep.
And they just no respect, no self-respect at all. And what gets me about the poor thing is I grew up poor. I went to elementary that was all poor kids.
But your parents worked very hard.
Yes, that's right. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I grew up as a poor kid.
But
everybody in my elementary was poor kids too.
And their parents probably worked very hard. Nobody sat at home.
No, we didn't. I didn't go to a welfare elementary.
Well, no, none of their parents sat at home.
No.
Like, you drop me off in my pajamas, I come back 8 hours later, you're still in your pajamas. No. That's what these kids are seeing. Your parents, Ron was a firefighter and a painter on days that he had off. Your mom worked in a grocery store. So you saw your parents struggling. So you had a good work ethic. These kids see that their parents sit on the couch all day. They smoke their cigarettes.
And get a check from the government.
Nobody smokes anymore. But, and they get a check for that. So that's what they see. And it's just the system. But until somebody's willing to cut people off, which, yeesh, that's scary in itself, you're going to have this problem. And it's just going to continue to get
what
worse.
I was getting at is I went to school with all people that were in the same economic situation I was. Then the government got involved, and everything the government touches turns to shit.
Yep.
They
don't think of all the consequences.
No, but everything they touch turns to shit. There's nothing our government's involved with that's good.
Because they don't think of the consequences.
Even look at I'm just talking about the way they run shit. Look at the Postal Service. Postal Service sucks. FedEx and UPS are great. The government runs it. It's shit every time because they rely on tax dollars to prop them up all the time.
Right.
We had all poor people. I grew up all poor people. Every elementary in Wichita Falls were all economically connected type people. The really rich kids all went to the rich elementary and in the upper middle class and blah. The poor kids all had 4 or 5 different elementaries that we went to, but we were all poor, so nobody stood out and wasn't bad. Well, the government come in and said, whoa, hold on. We need to take some of these poor kids and build a Section 8 apartment over at the rich kids' elementary, put them together. Then what happens? You got kids that are embarrassed of everything they don't have.
Right.
It's just a bad dynamics. There's nothing wrong with being isolated to your own type. It don't have to be by skin color. It can be by economics, whatever it is. You take a bunch of kids that are slow learners, they're better off with other kids in class that are slow learners than they are being with a bunch of smart kids. Why should we dumb it down the smart kids by putting a bunch of dumb kids in with them? And then why should we isolate 2 or 3 dumb kids by putting them in with a bunch of smart kids?
Once again, I don't know that it's that simple, but I don't think that there's a bunch of dumb kids that are in with smart kids, maybe for a couple classes, but I don't think that just, hey, you're here with these really, really
So you don't think we should have a dumbass elementary for dumb kids?
For 8, well...
I do.
I don't. What do you classify as dumb? I mean, is it autism? Is it Down syndrome? Like,
no.
what is dumb?
You're telling me.
How do you classify this? And then how do you separate them? I don't understand your plan.
So you never had a kid that you hung out with that was just stupid.
You've got to have a cutoff, though. Yeah, and they weren't with me for every class period.
But if they would have been in class, but in a big town, you can take your super slow kids, just like you can put your super smart kids, and you can have a campus for super smart kids. Wichita Falls had one called Washington Math and Science. All the rich kids, not rich kids, all the smart kids went to that school.
Okay.
They took them out of their elementary and they put them here to a gifted and talented type school. They got to do upper.
The parents paid for this?
No. The public schools, and it was a separate campus.
And then how did you get into this?
You had to be
SAT
a smart
scores,
kid. No,
or,
these are kids. These are kids in elementary, just a smart kids.
Okay, but I don't understand. There's got to be a requirement for you to get into.
Had to be when your teacher had to say that he's a smart kid, and they had to, and that's what they did.
Well, that's fine. A gifted program is fine.
And so it was a school just for gifted kids. And it was a science and math and science center.
Okay.
So why can't we have one for stupid kids and call it building blocks and ice cubes or some shit, whatever it is?
Well, I mean, you're already facing a teacher shortage everywhere. Who's going to volunteer to teach a bunch of mentally challenged kids? Plus, you've got every school. I think it's 10% of the population is considered
special,
mentally deficient.
That's a good word, mentally deficient.
So, like, you're going to open up an entirely different school for 10% of the population. That's like saying that 0.1% of the population is trans. We should have all these different rules to play by for them.
Hold on. You were okay with the smart kids having a separate campus, and it's going to be about 10% also.
I don't know what
they didn't open up a special school. They just took one school and they made it. They didn't go build it. It was already there. And what they did is they put it in for smart kids. I'm just saying there are a bunch of dumb kids in this country that we should do dumb kid stuff with too.
But what are you going to do?
Teach them some skills. I don't know.
What?
But they're sitting in school. They're not learning nothing in these schools.
6%. I was a little high.
Is what?
6% is the number of limitations that have cognitive deficiencies.
Something has happened in our schools. And I don't know what it is. But
And those people... If your SAT score is not high enough, you can't even volunteer for the military, and they'll take everybody.
No, I'm not talking about getting a kid when he's 17 or 18. I'm talking about a kid when he's in 3rd or 4th grade, and he's slow. So
here's the thing. Do you not think that the military wants every able body that they can possibly get?
Payne's told me there's some pretty dumb ones there.
Right. Yeah, imagine that. The military is a group of volunteers. Our military is. There's no draft. You have to volunteer for that. They want every able-bodied person that there is out there. And if you're too dumb, we'll find you a job.
I don't think that's true no more.
Except for the 6% that can't get in. There is nothing in the military that these 6% of the individuals can do that is not directly counterproductive. Where in society will they fit in?
Well, I saw one of them in town the other day here
if they can't get into the military... and they can't do a job in the military, who's pleading, give us anybody. We'll take you. We'll brainwash you and have it to where all you got to do is push a button every day or whatever your job is. We need you. They can't even get it there. And that's a job that they want you. Now go to society where I don't have to have you. I can get an old person.
I would rather have an old person.
Right. But these people, there's nothing in the society for them.
No, because the ones I know 2 kids that were too stupid to get in the military. And
there's nothing for them.
They're both doing about what their career, what I figured they'd do.
There's nothing for them. You can't go to the oil field. If you can't make it in the military.
The problem with those kids, though, both of them.
You can't go to the oil field because you get your head fucking chopped off.
Both of them have a common deal.
I don't know.
No mom and dad at home.
Oh.
And they're both just fucking stupid. I mean, they just really are. I mean, there's just some people are dumb.
Some people just have that. And that's unfortunate. But if you can't do anything in the military, you're not going to go get a job on your own where the boss is happy to see you, because everything you do is counterproductive.
So what's the answer? Put them to sleep.
You tell me. I don't know what the answer is, but there's got to be. I mean, there's got to be a program for them. Don't these? Why
is it always has to be a program? Why can't we be responsible? What are you
going to do?
Own? Well,
are they going to rely on handouts?
If one of you boys would have been that special, I would have. You'd be on the payroll forever, and I'd be working you figuring something out. Yeah, but I'm saying, why is everything?
What if they come from a poor family?
Okay, but why is everything? I I had I would listen to a conversation 30 years ago between two of my friends. One of them's a big time attorney. One of them owns his own business. The one who owns his own business played Division I football and started 3 years at your alma mater. Good friends of mine. We had the same conversation 35 years ago, basically. And the conversation is one of them thought we should do away with Social Security. He goes, why should we have Social Security? We should take care of our own. And they argued back and forth about it. And at the time, I thought, I kind of agree with him on that deal. And then I thought, well, there's some people just can't afford to take care of their own. But he's right. We rely too much on the freaking government to do everything. We don't take care of our own. And that's why these people keep having all these freaking babies they don't take care of, because they know it doesn't come down to them. Someone else is going to take care of them. When's the last time you heard of someone having a child that starved from a mom that was really trying to feed it? You haven't. Because the government's going to make sure they have stuff where the community is. And I'm for all helping people, but I want people to start helping themselves.
These people can't. There's a certain percentage of the population. You can say, I want these people to help themselves. They can't.
So they should be on the government tip for the rest of their life.
What else are you going to do with it?
I don't know.
I mean, are you going to put these are people that can't even fill out a job application. They can't fill out a housing form. You're just going to have them running the streets?
I don't know, Andy.
I'm not saying that there's an answer, and I'm not saying that there's a good answer, but I can tell you that just letting them wander about is not the answer.
Well, all I know is that I'm tired of all this shit, and this year when I do my taxes, which I haven't done yet, I'm going to claim 1 million fucking Ukrainians on mine, because
there you go.
I might as well. Everybody all ought to be able to divide up some of that money. But the stuff in Chicago, when I watch that on TV, it just pisses me off, because nobody ever wants to really do nothing. They want to talk, but they want to make excuses for those kids, and that's what really wears me out. They're a scourge of the society, a big portion of them. And we're just going to make, just like that guy there, these kids are just trying to express themselves. No, they're fucking, and one of the big problems I have is, well, those places are insured. Who the fuck do you think pays the insurance?
Right.
Why are our insurance rates going to go up? My insurance rate, State Farm's going to call me tomorrow and say, Mr. Stanfield, we got to go up 7% on your homeowners this year because someone robbed a Louis Vuitton store on the mile, the Magic Mile in Chicago. Hey, my fucking fault. Do something about it.
Right. It sucks, but there's no answer other than...
We can't just keep turning the other cheek.
I'm not saying turn the other cheek. I'm saying that there's no good answer.
I mean, what are we going to do 10 years from now when
it's going to be way worse?
These big cities are going to be ghost towns. There's not going to be no businesses.
So?
Well, that's the way I am too.
But
I'm tired of it being a racial deal. That's what pisses me off. I get so sick and tired of, well, it's just racism. No, you can go up north of town to an urban area that's predominantly working 2-parent families. All colors live there, and there's no crime. So it's not a race deal. It's a we respect each other deal.
Right.
2-parent
family is the deal.
Well, you can make people get married.
I don't know. Maybe incentivize marriage a little bit more. Maybe get it to where if you get a divorce, the woman doesn't take half of the shit. Maybe get it to where divorce is not, equivalent to.
How about making marriage
non fatal cancer? Maybe make it like that.
Why can't? Well, eventually all this gay stuff's going to catch up to us, and we're going to quit having babies anyways. Maybe 100 years from now, we're going to have 20% of the kids we're having now. Maybe the little fuckers will grow up with some respect. It just wears me out to see people make excuses all the time. And then I want to talk about something else too. I want to talk about gun control.
Okay, that's a hard switch, but go ahead.
It's basically on the same shit. They had a Sweet 16 party. I love how the media categorizes. Sweet 16 party in Alabama, 28 or 32 people got shot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I haven't been to a Sweet 16 party in 30 years, maybe. I'm 55, so 40 years ago, maybe 42 years ago, 43 maybe, went to my last Sweet 16 party that I went to. I don't remember anybody taking a gun to it.
Right.
This was not a Sweet 16 party. This was a girl's birthday party with a bunch of gangbangers from different neighborhoods there. and they started shooting each other out because kids have no respect for each other these days.
Shit popped off.
Yeah, and they shot a bunch of kids, and I'm sure there's some innocent children got shot in this deal. I'm sure because not all kids are bad. Don't care what neighborhood you are, you got some good kids in there, and I feel sorry for those families. I do, but it's not a gun control deal. It's a bad people deal. I've got a safe full of guns in there that's never shot anybody.
That you know of.
Well, I don't figure they have. The only one I ever had that shot somebody is, I don't know where it's at now.
Yeah.
But guns don't shoot people. People shoot people. You know? When I went to that Sweet 16 party, I didn't worry about carrying a gun.
Right.
You know? And I saw the video of this kid. He's got this gun, and this dude takes off down this hallway, and he's running the opposite street. The kid pulls a gun out. He's got his shorts on, no shirt. I know why they're sagging. I think everybody sagging must have a gun in their pocket because he pulled out and he shot this kid in the back 3 times. Pow, pow, pow.
Yep.
Did you see the video?
Probably.
And the girl was on the phone deal and, you know, boom, 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 and shoots. This other girl comes walking up, smiling and laughing. And then this girl turns to this guy, hey, I saw you at so-and-so last night. Someone just got shot in the back 3 times.
Yeah.
And it was no big deal. What in the hell is happening?
Well, I think we answered it in the last segment.
But then they blame it on the guns. If we had gun control, that kid would still have a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago's got great gun control laws. They all have guns.
Right.
And nothing's ever done. You know, and now we're letting them out of jail. But we got a president who committed a misdemeanor, and they're going to trump him as a felony. But then we've got felons, and they're knocking them to misdemeanors. There was a guy in New York that they let out on some deal, and he killed 2 other people while he was out.
Oh, yeah. Happens a lot, Jeff.
It's just so frustrating to live in this time right now and to see our country deteriorate in the way it is. Because we all know what's going on. Do you think Ukraine is money laundering?
The file said it was.
Do you think it is? I'm not asking the file. I'm going to ask you your opinion on things.
The leak said that it was.
I'm asking you your opinion.
The leak said that it was. I don't know what you're wanting from me. The leak documents.
Before the leak came out, did you think there was money laundering going on there?
There was a lot of gazy stuff.
Okay. Do you think that we had an honest election cycle last time?
Probably not. If you look at a lot of the data out of Georgia.
I just want your opinion. Yes, you think there was some fugazi shit.
There was some stuff.
Do you think that
but I think
the
that
FBI is intentionally not arresting anybody that's on Epstein's list?
I don't know if it's just the FBI.
But do you think someone's keeping them from arresting just one person?
There's probably a gag order on all of them from top to bottom.
So, and you think that's a little kind of doesn't make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that they are intentionally not doing something to Hunter Biden because of his stuff?
Well, yeah, his dad's the president. Of course.
Do you think Bill and Hillary Clinton have been dealing with fraud, money laundering, and murder while they've been around in charge?
Well, you look at the Clinton body count.
Yes. Okay. We all know that.
Right.
Okay. If 2 guys in Knox City know that, everybody knows that. But our government and our media don't touch it.
Well, there's a reason.
Yeah, because the media is controlled by the same people.
Right. And that's where their funding comes from.
And that's what is going to be the powder keg that blows us off this whole thing one day. People we're all waiting for someone to snap. And we're going to say, I saw that coming. I think Donald Trump is the best president we've ever had because he's not one of them.
I don't know that I'd go that far, but
what part would you do?
I don't know that he was the best ever. That's a pretty big
title. Who do you think is?
I really like Reagan. I like Nixon. Nixon had his own problems.
Yeah, the CIA and the deep state.
The more that I read about JFK, he came from a piece of shit family, but I think he was probably
John F.
pretty
Kennedy
good.
is Donald Trump. Pretty close, would you say, other than the military service that JFK did?
Yeah, and the mean tweets. Trump's biggest problem is just the way that he delivers things. If he ever, which he's not going to.
But I like the way he delivers it because he's like me. He's an asshole, and I like that.
But not everybody jives with that.
No. Do you think that Donald Trump had your family's best interest on stuff when he did stuff?
I don't know about that. I don't think he really.
I think he done what was best for America.
He didn't get us in any new wars. So,
No, nobody wanted to fuck with him.
I did see where Trump Jr. though.
He's a dumbass. He ruined his chances of ever being president on the Anheuser-Busch deal.
Let's go easy on
No, let's
Bud
not.
Light.
Good. Did you see Lou? What's that beer you drink? Yingling?
Yingling?
Did you see what they did today?
No.
Come out basically with the pro-America. We've been in business for 186 years, or 168 years, blah, blah, blah,
Good
blah,
for
blah.
them. They make good beer. I like Yingling.
Well, they've gotten a big market share now. Bud's in trouble. I don't think there's anything Bud can do. Bud's not going to go out of business.
Down $8 billion.
They're not going to go out of business, but there's a lot of big shots, and their corporate offices are not going to have jobs in a year.
Well, and then it came out what the CEO of Anheuser was a CIA guy.
That's probably pretty common in a lot of places because your little brother told me that that's why he can get a lot of jobs because what he does.
Oh, really?
They like to have guys that's educated, smart guys with a background and a top secret clearance. Now, I'm not saying that, but if you're the CIA, that you have all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of that going on. I'm telling you, the CIA connection goes back to the Richard Nixon days.
Now, Trump did add more to the national debt than any other president except for Joe Biden, which is not very good considering that he ran as a conservative and he was anything but.
If Trump would have,
it was a blank check on anything that you wanted and send it out the door.
Donald Trump made a lot.
Not good.
Donald Trump was good for our country, and if it wasn't for
well,
COVID,
I don't think adding to the national debt was good.
How much of that was done though because of COVID?
I bet I could look it up.
Before COVID, things were rolling good. He done some things. He's an asshole. Let's face it. Donald Trump is an asshole, but I like assholes. But he loved our country, and that's more than I can say for any president in a long time. And I'm damn sure not including George Bush on that deal of loving his country. I got to pee. What was the debt before COVID?
That's what I'm trying to find out. So he added 39% to the national debt total. Now, some of that did have to come from COVID spending.
A lot of it, because he instituted all that stuff. Everybody was getting checks for staying home for a long time.
I just want like a simple answer. I don't want to have to read.
They never give that shit to
entire
you.
article. Let me see. But yeah, 39%. It rose. This says even before COVID hit, it was already a big deal. Like they were trying to figure out, which there's no way of getting out of it. National debt has risen by almost 7.8% during Trump's time in office. That's nearly twice as much as what Americans owe on student loans, car loans, credit cards. It amounts to 23.5 in every new federal.
So they're counting the federal debt is our personal debt?
I think it was saying if everybody paid a certain amount to get us out, but that doesn't make sense.
They're never going to get out of that debt anyways.
So you can see right here, here's a graph. I don't know what the numbers are, but 28 trillion was what it was when he left. And I mean, you can see right there, it's a very, very steep.
Yes.
But it was going up.
The same trajectory had been from day one from everybody else.
Well, I mean, do you want to compare yourself to everybody else, or do you want to go in there and do your job? And
No.
Balance the budget.
I wasn't meaning that. I'm just saying it's the same trajectory until COVID hit.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that.
Until COVID hit, it was the same trajectory as everyone else.
Right.
I think, well, all I know is this. When Trump was in office, everybody had jobs. Unemployment was going down. Things were good. They were, and then COVID hit.
But doesn't
COVID got him out of office, and I personally think that COVID was put on us just for that reason alone. And I think history is going to show that Dr. Fauci rots in hell.
So let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I know very little about economics. If you cut taxes, wouldn't you take on more debt?
I would think so.
Right?
I would think a tax cut is the way the government makes money.
Right. And if you cut taxes, which is great for the individual, but it's terrible for government, which is relying on tax dollars. So your spending would have to go up to compensate for the tax cuts.
Do you think honestly?
So I think so, but hold on. I don't think that that's a fair statistic because he put more money back in our pockets, took money out of the government's pockets. Well, the government is used to humming along at a certain level. Government's not going to take a step back. So he almost had to spend more to compensate for the money that we're keeping. right? So, I mean, it's a good thing on an individual level, but from a business standpoint of running the government, maybe not such a good thing.
I don't have a problem at all with us kicking the can down the road on debt. It's been happening my whole life.
Yeah, but there's gonna come a time where, and you're
When?
starting to see it right now. Well, countries already are starting to get off of the U.S. dollar.
They're getting off the U.S. dollar because Joe Biden's in office, and the Chinese and the Russians are getting together with the Saudi Arabians, because they wouldn't have done that shit if we were not buying oil at record amounts. They wouldn't be doing that shit.
I saw Texas is now producing more than Saudi Arabia,
We're
Russia,
fixing to be ahead of Iraq.
and Iraq. We're going to be
Yep.
ahead.
We would be.
But I mean, there's got to be an answer to this, and it's not just kick the can down the road.
I don't know what the answer is when it comes to economics at this level. I don't have a fucking clue. I do not have a clue what to do to fix it. I don't. I'm not going to pretend I do, because I don't.
Because you'd have to raise taxes to lower the debt, because you'd have to pay for all these things, unless we're going to cut government programs, which I'm not against totally.
No, that's what we should do.
But like I said, that's like whenever you get this standard of living, you don't like going backwards. And that's what we have inflated the government to such an extent that a lot of jobs are created by the government, and they don't want to go backwards.
Your household's an interesting one. One side, you have a government check coming in on
My house?
your in-laws.
Oh, yes.
And then you have us who are self-employed. Two completely different deals. One of them has got a ton of security.
Mm-hmm.
One of us doesn't.
Right.
If we don't have season and stuff, we don't make a living. It's a whole completely different deals. On his side, he's guaranteed a raise every year at 4% or whatever
Not
it is.
a raise.
They don't get a cost of living raise?
No.
They don't?
Mm-mm.
I thought they did.
I don't believe so. I believe it's the same number from now till they.
Well, he's
throw dirt in his
retired
face.
now.
Right. Yeah.
But while he was
Oh,
working,
you mean while he was working? Right.
got
yes.
a 4 or 5% self. People like me don't get that.
Right.
There's so many people like him, and they have their jobs, government jobs. I'm not saying his job wasn't important, but there's a lot of them government jobs that are not important.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go to Washington, D.C., you see a bunch of that shit. And they just keep getting more money and more money and more money. And you can't get rid of them. You can't fire them.
Right. Well, I mean,
You can't. They got to really fuck up to get fired.
sure.
Once you get in the deal. And they just, like you said, they just keep growing and growing and growing. Our government shouldn't be as big as private business is.
Do you? I wonder how many people the federal government employs.
A bunch. More than anyone else in the United States does.
You think so? You think they're
Look it
the
up.
biggest employer?
I would say so. I'll bet there's more people work for the federal government than work for Halliburton worldwide. Well, if you take Army for sure, and the
Right.
military, but I'm talking not military. I'm just talking about total government employees who aren't current.
Survey says 23.7 million.
Full-time and part-time employees of the government, including 4 million federal, including armed forces.
8% of whom 8% excluding armed forces work part time.
14.2 million local government employees.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you find any business? Look at the biggest employer in the world. Biggest employer in the world.
You gonna go Halliburton?
It used to be. I don't know who it is be now, but it used to be Halliburton.
In the world, it's got to be 23 million. 23.7.
List of largest employers. Wikipedia.
This one
No, the very top one. Right there.
says Walmart.
2.3 million. Not even close.
Right. 2 million. China Railway. McDonald's smidge under 2 million.
Okay.
Amazon 1.5.
Okay. Used to Halliburton at one time used to be.
Halliburton's not even top
Nope.
12.
China's National Petroleum 1.2 million. Okay, but there you go.
A tenth.
80% or 98 over 80% more employees by the federal government has 80 times more than anyone else.
Right. And those people are used to everything. They're used to, like you said, the cost of living increase. They're used to
Days off.
They're used to healthcare, dental, you name it. They've got it. 23.7 million.
There you want to cut some cost right there. I bet you can cut some.
Yeah, but you're also going to slash the because at a certain level, you need these people to have jobs to keep local economies going.
Oh, there ain't nothing much slower than molasses than a government employee. But
they spend money.
But I'm going to tell you right
still
now.
buy houses and cars, and they are contributing to the engine that is America.
I'm not talking about getting rid of all of them by any means. And I'm not knocking the ones we have, because the ones that work the FSA offices and stuff, those people are good people. They don't move slow as shit. But you get into the bureaucracy of the IRS and all that shit,
right?
It's just complete bullshit deal. You know, and it's just crazy the way and it's just a cog of money going round and round and round. And there's a lot of them cogs that don't need to be there.
Sure.
But they're not going to cut out the 3 secretaries they have for one person that's an ambassador or so-and-so. That shit. And those people don't have nothing to do all day.
Right.
You know, there are a lot of government employees that work their ass off that are very important jobs, but there's a lot of them that are bullshit jobs.
What did that...
because they don't have...
What'd my guy say, Vivek? TSA? 1,000 standing around?
Yes. Well, but the problem is it's not a reward job. And when I say a reward job, if you own a business and you've got someone working somewhere and they're getting a salary, you're making money on top of that, or you wouldn't have them there.
Right.
Let's say an oil field company here, and they send 6 guys out to do a job on a rig, and they bill a big oil company, because that's how it works out here with these contract companies. They bill a company for 6 employees, for overtime, whatever it is, X amount of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they can get by with 5 people, they'll have 5 people on that job, but still be billing the same amount of hours, because everybody is a profit maker to that company. The federal government's not that way.
No.
They got a check coming in from tax dollars all the time.
Mm-hmm. And they'll do what they have to do. But, I mean, that's also another problem that is above my pay grade.
Well, we've got a lot of people with jobs at the government that probably shouldn't have them. But that's our problem with our government is the government's too big.
Well, yeah.
Okay, give you another example of the government. You take guys in the military. They work in the military and they learn a craft. Then they get out of the military and they go to work for a contractor, and they make 3 times as amount of money doing the same job they were doing in the government.
Uh-huh.
Why is the government paying a contractor 3 times the amount of money for the same job they had the military guys doing? Why don't you incentivize and pay the guys at certain jobs in the military more money and get them to stay in the military?
Well, that's just more government spending.
They're still spending. They're spending more.
How?
Okay.
I don't understand.
Okay. Let's say you're a doctor in the military.
Okay.
And you're a heart surgeon.
Okay.
And
I like hearts.
Okay. And you're a heart surgeon and you're a captain, a major. I'm not a colonel, whatever the hell you are, a colonel, let's say. And let's say you're making $150,000 a year in the Army.
Peanuts for
as a
heart
colonel.
surgeon.
But you're a heart surgeon.
Peanuts. You should be making $750.
But on the private deal, you're gonna make $5 million a year.
That's a little inflated, but
you look what a heart surgeon makes in a year.
$750.
No,
I've already seen it.
Bullshit.
$750.
I'll bet I'm closer at $5 million a year than you are $750,000 a year.
How much does a heart
surgeon make
before taxes or
it
after
don't
taxes?
fucking matter.
Well, Jeff, it might matter a lot depending on what state you live in. There you go. $517.
Bullshit.
Jeff, that's on salary.com. You think they're gonna lie?
Yeah. A fucking heart surgeon makes a lot more than that.
$517. Now, I'm sure that there's kickbacks.
The total can include bases, and I'm telling you, you're making a lot more. Okay, let's say $500,000 a year. Then I think it's way off. This heart surgeons I knew they lived a whole lot better. They spent every fucking dime they made if they were making.
There's kickbacks.
Okay.
Between all the
medicines and valves and all that shit. Okay, we'll go with $500,000 a year then.
Okay.
$500,000 a year. So the government then has a guy that's in the military and he's got a heart problem.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have Major Thumb over there operate on him. They send him out to a hospital and it costs him a lot more money. Well, you know what? Pay your guy $500,000 a year to stay in the military so you can do all the surgeries and stuff right there. That's what I don't, and it's not just that. It's guys that are logistics guys in the Army. They work for a company, or they're in the Army for multiple years, and they go to work for that BAE Systems, and they're making $65,000 a year in the Army, and they go to BAE Systems and they start them out at $120,000. Well, the government's paying BAE Systems to look over that same stuff. BAE Systems is a government contract. They're getting a contract, so they're getting that same amount of money. Why don't you just pay your guys extra?
Neurosurgery pays the most. That's what I'd seen.
They make a lot more money than that.
$750.
They make more money than that.
Just like I said, Jeff. Nobody fucking listens to me though. Ever.
He makes more money than that does.
Nobody listens. Oncology. Just smidge under. Nuclear medicine.
Go up to the very top one. What was the one? Was a neurosurgeon.
Yep.
Look what a neurosurgeon in the military makes.
Okay.
And this is why we can't keep these people in the military.
Ooh.
NEU. There you go.
In the military. First one. $60 an hour. Is that what that says?
Yep.
Hourly pay. 60 an hour.
Which is 19% below
National
the national average.
So 20. So there you go. Right there. It says 250.
He makes $250,000 a year, and he'd be making $750,000 in the private sector. We're going through the same thing.
$500,000 bump.
Your little brother is going to be getting out in a couple of years, and he's going to make a lot more money outside doing what he does than he does in.
But I don't understand.
And that's why he moves up so fast, because everybody in front of him, they take that money and they leave.
But I don't understand how the government's paying for this. A government's not paying for a neurosurgeon at Hendricks or Covenant or in Lubbock. I don't understand where you're getting that.
But at a U.S. VA hospital,
yeah,
they can't keep good surgeons because they get to, if they can make $250,000 in the military,
right,
get out and go make $750,000.
Right, that's a good personal move.
But they're sending people to these other hospitals where they go to specialists because they got more experience. That's all I'm saying.
But you can't. But so now you're wanting to add to the national debt. You were just a minute ago. You're wanting to get rid of the national debt. Now we're wanting to pay neurosurgeons $500,000 more a piece
to keep. I don't understand why our military. No. But our military is paying for that surgery at that specialist at another hospital.
How?
They send guys off to specialists all the time and they pay for it. If you're in the military and you break your leg and you got to go to an orthopedic surgeon,
you don't go to the military's orthopedic surgeon.
They'll send you to Dr. Funk or somebody in Abilene, and then they're going to pay out that. Some places will have that.
$25 for an aspirin.
Yeah, and they pay that. Government pays that bill, and that's what I don't understand is why instead of doing it that way, why don't you pay more money and keep a good specialist on staff, more of them?
Maybe it's less to just pay that doctor for the broken leg rather than pay.
Do you really think our government does things a smart way? No.
Probably not, but I'm just trying to think of why they would do that.
They do it all the time, though.
I'm not saying that they don't.
That's what I'm getting at. That's why, yeah, they would be paying $500,000 more or maybe $250,000 more for keeping a neurosurgeon on staff. But those doctors that went over to military and stuff, can you imagine the trauma experience those guys got? That were in Afghanistan and stuff. I mean, there are some really good doctors that are in the military, but they leave and go take these private jobs because they make a lot more money where our government could pay them extra. My biggest deal is not the doctor deals. It's these guys that work in the private sector that leave their jobs and then they go get a consulting job with a company that's contracted out by our government to do the same thing. And that's what I don't understand. If the government can afford to pay a contractor $1 million a year for 4 guys to work there, why can't they just pay certain people more money in the military? Because a guy that cleans toilets that's a sergeant is not as valuable as a sergeant that can, fly a satellite,
You wouldn't think.
No, it's completely different type jobs. Just because you're the same rank doesn't mean your jobs are worth more money.
Well, Jeff, I don't know. There's no answer here. Other than term limits. That's the only answer.
We need that. You look at it, Dianne Feinstein in California. I don't think she's had a vote call this year. She's got dementia. She's 89 years old or some shit. And she won't retire. She won't do it. They're begging her to quit because they can't confirm some of Biden's people because she's not there to vote.
Right.
The guy in Pennsylvania they voted in, fucking Lurch. What the guy don't know what he's doing either. We got an incompetent president who thinks that people in Ireland love him. Did you see that coming out deal he did?
Yeah.
Oh, God. It might look like a WWE event.
He got a little pep in his step.
Yep.
Need to do that more often for the guy. He's got to be depressed. They're shooting him up with everything. Guarantee you. Just to get through the day.
He says he's running again.
Good. He should.
Better than that cocksucker in California.
Well, probably so.
It just shocks me how far liberal. The transgender stuff just blows my mind the way we're blowing this up now.
0.1% of the population.
And they're bending over backwards for these people. I don't even know a transgender person.
Mm-mm.
You can pick anything else in the world out. Any person that does anything, sleeps with so-and-so, does whatever. Probably know people with foot fetishes, hair fetishes, and everything else, but I do not know one freaking person that's transgender.
Tell you what, Trevor and his wife, they better treat that young buck good, because now in Washington they can come take your kid away.
Can you believe that?
If you deny them hormone blockers and the transition, you deny that, they're gonna come get your kid in Washington. Just passed.
Why do we need to be talking to sex with kids below age 4th grade anyways?
I would go 6th grade.
Okay, let's go 6th grade.
12 years old.
Why before that do you need to talk to a kid about sex? Reese is how old? 8?
Mm-hmm.
Reese, I've never heard Reese say anything sexual ever.
Mm-mm.
He thought butthole words funny.
Yeah.
He's a kid. I mean, that's it. How could a kid I saw Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, their boy or girl, whatever it is.
Yep.
He's transgender. At Reese's age, he was already wearing dresses and knew he wanted to be a girl. How the fuck do they come up with shit like this?
They don't. Their parents figure it out.
How do people with their background have such fucked up kids?
Because they've got more money and they don't have problems. So they go looking for them. And problem with them is, oh, well, you always like dolls or whatever it is. I mean,
I just blow. I mean,
luck. And I mean, if you look like all the great athletes, like as girls, they've all got this tomboy attitude, but most of them grow out of it once they get to puberty. But, girls always, until they hit puberty, they always kind of have this knock 'em. Most girls, not all girls, obviously, but a lot of girls, when they are 8, 9, 10, 11, until they hit puberty, they go through this little ugly duckling stage, and they don't feel right in their bodies. And then they hit puberty, and then it's even more, fucking confusing for boys and girls, because you've got all this shit that's changing. And they go to their parents or they go to their school counselor and say, like, listen, I don't understand my body at all. I don't feel comfortable in it. I'm long, I'm lanky, I'm fucking clumsy. And their school counselor says, well, that's because you're probably a girl in a boy's body, and you would feel much better if you did this. Go on these hormone blockers and remove your genitalia. But it's just a phase. People grow out of it. Until, and then they do these irreversible surgeries and their life's ruined.
One of the most successful women athletes in this world grew up down the street from me.
Mia Hamm?
Yep. Grew up down the street from me. She was on her truck route.
Yeah.
And truck route was, after football practice, we rode in the back of a pickup, and a coach dropped us off at everybody's house. I guess we were safe because we had on Little League football stuff, so if we fell out of a truck, we had a helmet on and shoulder pads. But every day she was outside playing ball.
Sure.
Kicking ball, playing basketball.
She's a tomboy.
She played junior high football for Notre Dame in Wichita Falls.
Don't doubt it. Probably was a stud athlete there, too.
Yeah, she was probably better than most of the boys. She was a couple years younger than me. What'd she do? She went to North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
They moved to North Carolina from Wichita Falls. She played soccer. Went on to become one of the greatest soccer players ever. She's married to Nomar Garcia-Parra.
Mm-hmm.
She's a good-looking lady.
She is.
But she would have been somebody trying to tell her she needed to be a boy back today's.
Yeah.
And she's just a good athlete, and she was a tomboy.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't afraid to mix it up.
No.
Get in there.
And another girl that I was a tomboy that was the same age as me ended up, I'm not going to say her name, and she got dumped by a Major League Baseball player that she lived with for a couple of years who was a star. But she was a tomboy when we were littler. Mm-hmm. I think she played YMCA ball against us. She was a smoke show when we were in high school. Turned out to be a good-looking girl. She's a tomboy, too.
Yeah.
All woman. Not like that fucking... Did you see where Meg Rapinoe is that the Doc's name? Rapinoe, and then that Sue Bird, I guess is her husband, wife, or whatever it is, come out and said that they should let transgender males play their sports.
She wouldn't have a job.
That's right. That's exactly right. She'd be voting for her own unemployment. Mm-hmm. Both of them would not have a job if men played in the WNBA. You can take the third string power forward at Abilene Christian University, basketball player, and if you put him in the WNBA, he would be the best player in the league.
Yeah. 100%.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Neither one of them would ever have their job if it was that way. But they want to put it on these other girls. I think that's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm trying so hard to get the girl from Kentucky on that's a swimmer.
Good luck. She's on a media blitz.
She is, because I have messaged and I cannot get in. I was a day late on that deal.
Yeah,
But she is, no, not going to happen. I'd love to have her on with us. She's a great story. And she's getting, these other people are bitching about her. What gets me is the women liber that are, she is the best thing happened to them. Serena Williams, you see what she said?
She's 300, and she's ranked 320.
In the men's?
I think so.
Did you see what she said about Andy Roddick?
Said he would beat me 6-0 in 5 minutes.
Yeah. She goes, it wouldn't be no fun to play against Andy.
No.
She goes, it would not be no fun at all. She goes, men and women are different. That's the most manly woman in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And she said it, and she's right. And I don't understand why the women's libers. The worst thing you can do to women is have a man pretend to be one and beat them at their game, and the women's libers just turn a blind eye to this shit.
Yep. Now they got UFC fighters. One cracked a skull.
I'd like to see a guy beat her ass.
Well, you're not going to. She's fighting in the men's.
Or
women's, I'm sorry.
And Mom told me, she was all worked up about it. She goes, don't that piss you off? I said, it doesn't. It doesn't. I said, it doesn't because the lady knowingly fought knowing she's going to fight a man. It's not like it's some guy on the street corner going around pretending to be a woman beating women up. Right. That lady signed a contract. What's embarrassing is the UFC's letting him do that.
Well, it's not the UFC, but...
Oh, it's not the UFC that they're fighting?
Fuck no.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that.
No.
It's some underground league.
Well, just some other MMA thing.
What's the weight limit fighting?
I don't even know. I don't know.
But it's not the UFC.
Fallon Fox, I think's the name.
But it's not a UFC fighter then.
No,
because I didn't figure Dana White. That kind of surprised me. I'm glad that Dana White, because he wouldn't put up with that shit. I don't think.
He was pretty hardcore against having women fighters. Period.
Those are some of the best fights of the night.
He was against it for a long. He's come around, but at first he was.
Don't you think some of them are?
I'm not into it, but
some of the, like the Holly Holmes, was that her name? The one that kicked fucking Ronda Rousey's nose, or
that's Holly Holmes.
I liked watching that fight.
Yeah.
And who's this Cyborg? Is that a transgender deal? Or just an ugly woman?
I think it's just an ugly woman, but she's a badass. I cannot find exactly where Serena ranks, but
she would. When I went to high school with a kid that was a state champion tennis player, and he went to SMU and he played at SMU, and he was a men's varsity SMU tennis player, one of their top 1 or 2 players, and he used to practice with Martina Navratilova. She lived in Fort Worth, and she was a woman's #1, and that's who she played with, a men's college player. He wasn't good enough to be a pro, player like that, but he could beat her.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a college player, a men's college player, and she couldn't beat him. And it's just a different game. They're different people. I mean, I don't want a woman to be like a man. I like my vagina to not have balls sitting underneath it.
That's right. Fallon Fox fight at.
What now?
Trying to see what weight this Fallon Fox. See how much weight. 144.
So she would be fighting against, I don't even know anybody fights anymore. What was Matt Hughes, 160 pounds?
170.
Okay, yeah.
I think Conor McGregor would probably be in that.
I don't like Conor McGregor, but I'd like to see him beat the shit out of that dude.
Why don't you like Conor McGregor?
I just don't care much for him. I mean, I don't dislike. I mean, I don't hate the guy. I don't see nothing bad happen to him. I'm just not a fan of his. He's very good at what he does, though.
Hell of a self-promoter.
He's damn good at self-promoting. But I want to see another boxing fight, UFC guy fight. Did you see the guy that come out that won the other night in Tampa or in Miami and talked about President Trump?
Yeah, Jorge Masvidal.
Is that who it was?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was. Big Trump guy. He came from, I think he was born and raised in Miami, but I think his family came from Cuba, so he saw it firsthand.
Cubans are not big fans of the Democratic Party.
Nope.
John F. Kennedy screwed them over on that deal big time, a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
Do you think, we are 2 years from an election. 2 years from now, we will be in the middle of all the fucking lies and bullshit and stuff.
Oh, boy. Can't wait.
Do you think the Democrats are under Joe Biden?
I don't see how they can, but...
Train wreck. Would you say that? Worst presidents we've ever had.
Yeah, for sure. But
not even close.
Yeah, I don't see how they're going to do it, but I'm sure they can find a way.
If he runs again, there's no way in a fair election he could beat Mickey Mouse.
It's going to be tough, I'd say.
In a fair election, there's no way in chance in hell he could win. Right. There's no way.
You wouldn't figure, but
If we had a fair, honest election where people had to turn in their driver's license to show to vote, we need to make Election Day a national holiday.
oh well, that's not going to happen.
No, but that's what they should do. One day vote, and that's it. And if you can't make yourself vote that day, then tough shit. I mean, if it means that much to you, go vote. But in a fair election, there's no way in hell that he wins a re-election. You can go to any side of town, any demographics, and there's nobody supporting him.
Yeah.
But the biggest demographics you'll have supporting him are rich white liberals.
Yep.
That's it. You go to Connecticut, you go to Manhattan, you go to places like that, that's where you're going to get it. You go to the shitty neighborhoods there where the people that they're so-called the minorities are trying to help out, those people don't want him back in office. They see the difference.
He's just a goon dick.
Even a con artist could make money when Trump was in office. If people had money, they'd spend money on shit.
Yeah.
The guy don't give interviews at all. I saw a deal where 46% of the days he's been in office, he's been on vacation. Thank God. Can you imagine how fucked up it'd be if he'd been here the whole time?
Whew. Yeah. Won't take answers. That's the part that I've got a big problem with, just because they crucified Trump everywhere. Anytime he stepped to the microphone, it was hitting him. Now they don't do it.
Did you see the carpet muncher talking about him on that? They asked her about it, and she's like, "Oh well, he's taken more shout out questions than any president ever." And they started laughing. The press people laughed, and she got kind of mad. Everybody knows. Yeah. If the media would do their job, we wouldn't be in this problem. I blame the media more than anybody for the problems in our country. I saw where Leslie Stahl, where Trump walked out on an interview with her. She goes, "I'm going to ask you tough questions." He goes, "Why don't you ask?"
That was a long time ago.
That was still great though. Why don't you ask Joe Biden a tough question?
Yeah. Said, I think we've got enough here.
Yeah, she's a bitch.
That's just walked out.
Bought and sold by the deep states. Who it is? I guess Mitch McConnell's about done. Big loss.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really care.
Let's talk about ducks for a minute.
Okay.
Ducks.
May 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Yep. Shingear will be there. Ducks Unlimited will be there. I believe Mossberg will be there. Gundog Outdoors will be there. Dirty Duck will be there. We will be with Boss there. Pacific will be there. I'm trying to think of it. I think that's about it, isn't it?
Probably so.
That I can think of. And I'm sure there's somebody. If I forgot somebody, it's not bad to do anything on purpose. Those are the ones I know for sure that are going to be there. So come to Ducks, May 5th, 6th. It starts at Friday at noon, be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah, this is it right here. Turn that up.
Excuse me, Leslie, you started with me. Your first statement was, are you ready for tough questions? That's no way to talk.
That's no way to talk.
Leslie, one second. This is the first warning. I think we have 5 minutes until we have the vice president step in. Is that about right?
Well, I think we have enough. We have enough of that.
I think we're ready for the vice president now.
I think we have enough of an interview here. Okay, let's go.
Done.
Let's go meet for 2 seconds, okay?
Telling you right now,
Walked
give that
out.
guy 8 years in a row, and we would have had the best freaking economy the history. We already had the best.
Wow.
Take away COVID and shit, the man got shit done. Whether you liked him or not, he was good for your pocketbook.
The world may never know.
Yep. I went with mom the other day and we get our nails done and stuff, and the lady's from Vietnam does my feet. I got me a feet girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's doing my feet and she talks to me about stuff. And she talks real quiet. I guess they're not supposed to talk politics or something. She goes,
Right.
I know you like Trump. I said, yes, I do. She goes, we need him back bad.
I can tell by your feet you like
goes,
Trump.
Everybody had money when he was in office. She goes, anybody that would vote for the other guy, they're fools. That guy's an idiot.
Tips are way down.
I was like, yeah, but it's a trickle down deal. When people have more money, they spend more money.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty simple, basic deal. And everything was better. We had food supplies. We had everything was good. COVID fucked a lot of that shit up. And that's just, man, some places there's businesses will never be here again because of that.
Rest in peace.
It's it's a horrible deal. I mean, we lost some good clients over that. Some guys that spent money and did stuff, and it put them out of business.
Yep.
And there's nothing they can do to get it back.
A lot of hard work down
All right.
the toilet.
We got anything else to talk about?
I think that's it. Pretty Downer of an episode. All politics. All things that have no answer.
The funny thing is, it ain't just national wise. It's small towns, small town schools, and everything else. Shit's upside down in a lot of places.
Yep. It's going to be that way for a while.
It's that way. It's been that way forever in some things.
The pendulum will swing back.
I don't think it will.
No, it always does.
I don't know. I don't think we'll ever see.
No.
I don't think America will ever get close to where it was 25 years ago.
Oh, I don't agree with that at all.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%. We might not be alive to see it, but the pendulum will swing back. It's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be in the next 4 years. It's not dependent on who wins the election in 2024.
The world is different now because of technology and the cell phone. Completely. The world will never be. I don't know that we'll ever have a safe world. It's kind of funny. Hollywood makes movies about the future and shows always fucked up and shit. We're living in fucking Gotham now.
Yeah. But you can't put that genie back in the bottle.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think
cell
you'll
phones
ever.
are here to stay.
No, they
Hate
are.
to tell you.
You're right. There's something that's probably going to replace them one day. I don't know what it'll be.
Be a chip in your head. Elon's already said it. Ping! Right in the old noggin.
What will that do?
You'll have every answer to every question you could ever imagine.
So there won't be no dumb kids no more.
None. We'll fix the dumb problem.
That ain't happening.
We'll fix the dumb problem.
God made us the way he wants us, and he wants a few of them that are pretty shallow.
I don't know about that.
So you think God just took a day off when some of them dumb ones are around?
I think, yeah, 100%.
You do. You think one just, oh shit, that one slipped through the crack.
I think he's like, whoa, how'd that happen?
God's got a good sense of humor. We wouldn't have Walmarts.
Well,
So
I don't know. Did God know about the crucifixion?
yeah, he knows about everything.
He knew that man was going to fall to a state where he was going to have to come down and take a human body and get bled out on the cross.
Well, if you believe in God, yes.
Why wouldn't he have just fixed it to begin with?
Let me ask you this then, if we're going to talk about God. If God wanted everyone to believe, how hard would it for him to come up and appear and sit in that table right in a chair and talk to us for a second? I mean, seriously.
Right.
All of the non-believers, I'm telling you, if God sat with them,
Right.
Cletus, that drinks beer, don't believe in God, riding around all day long, shooting up methamphetamines. If he looked next to him and God was there and said, don't do that anymore, that guy'd quit doing that stuff.
We all live for this time where we're going to die and be with God and be servants to him and live in paradise. Well, like, just do it the first time. It seems pretty simple to me.
How many people do you...
I don't pretend to be God.
How many people do you know, honestly, that live the life pretty close to purity?
Oh, none.
Me neither. That's what I mean. I mean, being honest with you, the things that we do,
I don't know a
we
lot of people though either though. So
the things we do that we accept today,
right?
To 1935, to a church somewhere in the middle of nowhere, they would die at the things we've done. Women coming in. Can you imagine a girl coming in with their nose ring? Not knowing that their old hoo-ha's also been pierced. But I mean, just things that we do. The tattoos you see on people all over today. Could you imagine somebody walking in sleeves in 1947 through a restaurant?
Yeah, but it's socially acceptable.
That's
now.
right. I'm not judging it.
I don't think it's bad to have a tattoo.
I don't either. But I'm just saying the things like that.
But I don't think that nose rings and tattoos have led to the downturn of society.
I don't either. But the other day you made a comment about a mile was taken an inch at a time.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's all things that we just accepted.
But does a tattoo make you a bad person?
No, not at all.
Okay, then. So
does sending a naked picture make you a bad person?
Yeah, it's not. You're not supposed to do it. Sexual immorality is what that is.
So getting a tongue pierced would be bad or good?
Depends on what you're doing it for, I guess. I don't know what else you would do it for, but
so if Jesse, we'll
and
just
I don't
take
know,
Jesse,
and I don't know the rules as far as like
Jesse sends you a naked picture,
having a materialistic
So is that
view
bad?
on the world. But I don't know what the views are on having a materialistic view.
That's
on
not
the
what
world.
I'm asking you.
No,
You said
I'm just
sexual immortality or sexual
I'm
morality.
finishing what the piercings and the tattoo. You're doing it for your own benefit and your own. I don't really know the word. So you're doing it for a selfish reason. Like it's not serving a purpose. It's something that you like. So maybe that could be considered a sin. I don't know.
I don't care if you got tattoos from your asshole to
No,
your
I don't
nose.
either. But
But back in 1945, if you saw someone walk in with a full sleeve, people would be like, "What the fuck is he in the zoo?" They'd think he was in the carnival. Aside, they really would. And I don't care that you have one. Same as I don't care if you get your tongue pierced, your nose pierced, and your hoo-ha pierced.
Right.
That's what knocks you out. Knock yourself out. I don't care.
Well, I don't either, but
Okay, now, have you seen the guy wearing the thong and the high heels? And the guy makes fun. He's on the podcast page the other day and watched him walk into a Walgreens or something. Mm-hmm. And he was cross-dressing. Okay, today we make fun of that. 20 years from now, that might be three of your fucking neighbors the way we're going.
right. Some Christians take issue with tattooing upholding the Hebrew prohibition. The Hebrew prohibition is based on interpreting Leviticus 19:28. Ye shall not make any cutting in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. So if you read that, tattoos are a sin.
What about someone that's got a donor bone in their body?
I don't know that
It says cutting your body.
make it. Yeah, but that's saying you didn't cut yourself to put a bone in there.
What's it say?
You shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, like a memorial.
Well, if you got a naked girl in there, she ain't dead, and it's just
Nor
a naked girl in your
print
body.
any marks upon you.
Now that pretty much standard. I got that. That pretty much says that's pretty cut
black and
dried.
white.
Yeah.
So
me and you that both have one tattoo, we're going to hell now.
well, it's something we're gonna have to atone for.
What's this atone really supposed to be? Because it kind of has me a little nervous. I've got a lot of atonements to make up for.
Thank God we're not Catholic. Well, I think if we were Catholic, we could buy provisions or something. I think that's what
Buy
it's called.
provisions?
Yeah. You could buy your way out of hell or purgatory. Yep, that was one of their beliefs. It starts with a P.
Would you say that's the most corrupt church ever?
Think that they did away with it though, because it kind of skewed towards the rich a little bit.
Well, yeah, a lot. Would you say that that's the most corrupt church there is?
I don't know. I saw the Dalai Lama sticking his tongue in a little kid's mouth.
Is he Hindu?
I don't know what he is. He's a freak.
He's
for
going to
doing
hell.
that, but
Part of the deep state guys. Guess who he hangs out with? All the deep staters.
does he?
Oh, yeah. He's a big shaker and mover in that Rothschild group. I don't even know what the hell the Dalai Lama is.
I don't either.
Is it the highest ranked
I think it's kind of like
the Pope?
Probably like the Pope.
Look it up and see what it means, because I've never even thought about that before, but I think he's the highest ranked, maybe Hindu or Buddha.
Indulgence. You could buy your indulgences. Way to reduce the amount of time in punishment. Indulgences. That's what it was. I think Martin Luther might have come along and done away with that. Yeah. Yep. It happened. Indulgences were, from the beginning of the Protestant Revolution, a target of attacks by Martin Luther and other Protestant theologians. Eventually, the Catholic Counter-Reformation curbed the abuses of indulgences.
I'm going to look up Dalai Lama, what exactly he is.
I'm sure he's just a figurehead for Hinduism.
I'm curious to what the religion he is.
I think you're right. Or maybe it's Buddhism? I don't know.
The Dalai Lama is known to Tibet as the Gyalpa Rinpoche, is the current Dalai Lama, the high spiritual leader and head of the country of Tibet. I guess it's more like their president of Tibet.
Well, we got a president that sniffs young girls.
Well, what the hell? It's the same damn thing. So Tibet's not much different than us.
Mm-hmm.
I've always heard of the Dalai Lama. I thought it was a religious guy, so it's basically their prime minister.
Is it a lifetime appointment? Because he looks pretty old.
Let's see what Wikipedia says. The Dalai Lama. Well, shit, it goes to their page. You don't really go to the Wikipedia page. The 14th is known as the Tibetan people as what is the current Dalai Lama since 1940. He got there when he was 5 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for him. Wonder what all he probably had to suck on a couple old man tongues. He's the 14th Dalai Lama. It's got to come from a...
He was born in a farming family. Small
Buddhist.
hamlet. Time at the age of 2. At the age of 2, the child didn't name... No, at age 2, he was named the Dalai Lama.
Tibetan Buddhism.
I wonder if he's allowed he has, at the age of 6, I wonder if he's allowed to have kids or something. Or I guess if he's into boys, he probably don't have no kids.
I don't know. I couldn't bring myself to watch that video.
Nah, I wasn't gonna watch that shit either. It pisses me off.
Gets
Go
you just
slap his
sticking his old tongue out.
I slap that old fucker upside his head is what they should do.
Come suck on my tongue.
Have you new Netflix show? We watched the Boston Marathon documentary. It's 3 series long.
3 episodes.
Very good. I'd seen was it Patriot Day?
Yeah.
Which with Mark Wahlberg was a good movie, so I kind of had a pretty good idea of it. It was Mom hadn't seen that show. It was a very good documentary.
Right.
Very, very good documentary. We watched NYER the other day, or ER in New York City. It's at Lenox Hill Hospital, another hospital in Manhattan. It was a really good docuseries. I think it was 5 episodes long, and then we watched the Manhattan one, and then I started watching Florida Man. Pretty stupid. So
The Waco show was good.
I haven't watched it yet.
It's only 3 episodes. So.
But that's why I liked the Boston Marathon one, because we watched it in one night. It was 3 episodes long.
Yeah.
It was 2 glasses of wine for Mom show.
There you go.
So, but it was a very good documentary, and a lot of crying in that show.
Oh, in the Boston Marathon.
Yeah, they just them poor people people just hate Christians. Those people hated Christians.
That kid did?
Well, yeah. Why do you think he blew up? Fucking he's a Muslim.
Oh, I thought he was just another.
He's a Muslim. They hate Christians.
I didn't know that had anything to do with it.
You didn't?
No.
Oh yeah, they were both went to a mosque.
I thought he was just another troubled teen.
Yeah, he was. He's troubled because he was a Muslim and he hated Christians. His older brother was a boxer, a really good boxer, and thought he was going to be in the U.S. Olympic team. But since he wasn't born in the United States, they wouldn't let him be an Olympian.
He couldn't.
So then he thought that since he was a Muslim, it was always because everybody hated Muslims. So
no, because you're not born here.
And so he flew to Kazakhstan or one of them fucking places over there and got indoctrinated with some creepy ass people. The mosque leader that he had, that was the mosque leader in Boston, he was really upset about it. And he was embarrassed. And he said, that's not what my church teaches you. Well, the Muslim religion teaches you to hate people that are Christians. But the kid that lived right there, they shot the shit out of his ass.
In the boat, right?
Yep. What
It only killed 3 people?
Yeah, but it blew a bunch of people's legs off.
Well, yeah, injured 281, but I can't believe there's only 3 fatalities.
They threw a damn a pressure cooker at the cops.
Right.
And it went off and hit the side of a car. But it broke the seal when they threw it from it, and that saved them.
Forcibly removed from Chechnya by the Soviet Union.
Yeah, he's pissed off at everybody in the world. And it was very, very interesting. It was better than the movie by a long ways. And the movie was really good, too. But it was really interesting. Very much so. So I really liked it. Other than having to have Obama in there.
Obama. They ran out of fucking drones, or they ran out of missiles under Obama. That's how many wars he started.
He's a piece of shit.
I don't know. I might have to watch it. I don't know.
It's really
Some
good.
of that stuff doesn't really tickle my pickle.
It is a really good docuseries. Very, very good docuseries. One of the more interesting ones I've watched in a long time.
I think Andy Bennett was part of the team that found him.
But they didn't have anybody telling crude jokes, so I don't know if Andy was on it or not. But
I'm 90% sure that whenever it happened, they flew Andy Bennett in, and
I think you're right. I know that he was at Colorado after one of their shootings.
No, because he was talking about holding on to the side of the SUVs and just like whipping down the side streets of Boston, looking for this kid.
Oh, they had a manhunt. They shut down parts of neighborhoods for 2 or 3 days.
I know they flew him in for sure, but I think he was part of the manhunt. So
ATF was really big there. It was a
they were big in Waco too.
It was really big. Now, they didn't screw this one up like
And
they
then
did Waco.
I think the FBI is actually the one that came in and kind of screwed everything up.
The FBI guy and the police chief in Boston did not jive. and on the docuseries, they talk about that because the police chief wanted to show their pictures out on CNN and Fox.
Yeah, right.
And the FBI didn't want to do that.
I don't think you should either.
Why?
All anonymous.
They're trying to find the guy.
All anonymous.
What do you mean anonymous?
Keep it anonymous. No names, no
They
faces.
didn't know a name. They was trying to find out who was blowing up people, and they thought
I'd keep it all anonymous.
They would have never found him if they would have done that.
Because that's what these people want. This is their 19 seconds of fame is all that it is.
You need to watch the stuff, and then when you do it, you'll agree with me on that deal. Yes.
Like the Tennessee shooter?
No, they knew who they were. That's fine. They were trying to find
nothing
these
about
kids.
him. Well, what if the Tennessee shooter got away?
Well, you don't want him shooting up another school.
Do your fucking job.
They're trying to do their job.
Do
There
your
was
job.
no leads.
Don't rely on me to do your job. Do your
Oh,
job. You're in the
good
FBI.
Lord.
You're in one of these fucking organizations with 3 letters. Do your job. I pay my fucking taxes. I shouldn't have to do your job too. Just fucking.
So they should have went and blown up a bunch of other shit until they tracked
No,
them down.
the fucking FBI should do their job.
They were doing their job. They didn't have
Take
no
the
leads.
pictures.
And what were
Listen.
you to do with them?
Take the pictures.
And do what
I'll
with
answer
them?
it like Trump, Jeff. Take the pictures. Take the cell phone records, the pinging here and there, and then all of a sudden you got your suspect. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Phone records, pictures, done. I just solved the case for him. You're fucking welcome. Give me my $60,000 a year. I want free dental for what I just espoused.
I want Texas Tech to send me back all that money for your education.
It's simple, Jeff.
No, it's not. It's the
fucking
stupidest thing you've said
simple.
today.
It is simple.
It's not even close to being
You
simple.
got the cell phone.
They didn't have cell phones like they have today.
It's in 2013, Jeff. There's plenty of cell phones. You got the pinging off of the towers. You got the pinging at the hardware store for the pressure cooker. You got everything you need. Don't.
When they exhausted all them means and they had no idea, after 3 days they didn't have an idea, and that's when they leaked the
3 days.
As soon as they did that, they had some people say, "Hey, I know who this is. I know who this is." The problem was the kids that did know who the young kid that's in prison right now, they didn't call in and say nothing, and they knew about it. They helped hide some of the shit, and they got their ass in big trouble too and went to prison. But the funniest person on there is a little Chinese guy that they stole his car. And when you watch the documentary,
Uber Eats or something?
no, he had him a new Mercedes, first car he ever owned, had it 3 days.
Damn.
Or something. It was not very long, and they carjacked him.
Shit.
And
right after the bombing?
And they told him, and that's when they shot the other cop in the head at Cambridge.
Oh.
Shot a cop in the head, or MIT, one of the MIT shot a kid in the head. And they told him, the guy was bragging about what they did, so they knew he was going to kill him. Well, his car, they wanted to go to New York City. They were going to go do a bomb at Times Square.
Right.
And the kid ran from the car and went in the Shell station. A Chinese kid that don't speak good English runs into an Indian gas station where nobody speaks very good English to call 911, and it was quite the conversation.
So why didn't it was the FBI that didn't want to release the
FBI did not want to release the deal, but they didn't say
Why?
why. I don't know.
They didn't say why?
He said they probably did. I wasn't paying attention to it. But the Boston cop said, I wanted it out there because I knew someone on our streets would know who this kid was. He said, we were afraid they were going to blow something else up and kill a bunch of innocent people. So we wanted to find out who they were so we could get them something done on them. And that's how they had an idea of who it was, and they were coming down on it pretty quick. And then this Chinese guy, they shot this cop, and they put 2 and 2 together. And then this Chinese kid called and said it was the Boston guys, and then it went to all to shit, broke loose that night. You should have seen the people call 911. The actual 911 calls are in there, and it sounds like fucking Afghanistan in a neighborhood in a small town in Watertown, Massachusetts, which is not a very violent area. And you hear people, I think something's going on down the street from me. And it sounds like fucking Iraq over there.
I would not release a single name, not a single picture.
A name, I would not. But a picture, please tell us who this is. We're trying to look for in that situation, once someone's dead, you shoot a car, don't do nothing. That just highlights them more. But when you're looking for someone, you don't say, hey, we're looking for Dasmov Shiaznov or whatever his name is. We need someone to help us who knows who this person is. That's what they needed.
Well, they did it, Jeff.
When he put that bag between right about that lady's legs and walked off, I thought, what a piece of shit. It was just horrible. It was just a bad, bad, bad deal. Just evil. Okay, right there is evil. Guns, why aren't we doing away with pressure cookers? You know, we've had stabbings lately.
Baseball bats?
There's just people just are evil these days.
No, way worse.
What was way worse?
Jeff.
You talking about medieval times?
Fuck yeah, those people were ruthless. Well, I'm not. I saw a contraption one time. So they tie you up. It looks like the top of it looks like a pyramid. All it is. Comes to a point, it's got a side and a side. They would suspend you above it, and they would slowly lower you down to where the thing enters your orifice in the bottom, and then they just keep letting the pressure out. You gotta remember, things got so bad in the Bible that God tried to do away with everything. How bad were things during the Noah times?
Well, pretty bad. They let a flood on everybody.
Exactly. I hadn't seen any floods. I hadn't seen any fires. I hadn't seen any locusts. So evidently, process of elimination tells me that things were worse in the times of Noah.
I'm 55 now, and I've never had things as bad as it is
I'm
now.
not saying that.
For me, in my lifetime, things are worse now than I've ever seen them.
Sure.
You
You lived through a pretty cake time of America too, though.
probably the best time.
So
So
it's not a stretch saying that this is now the worst. So
I mean, you're basically
this-
right. I was born after basically Vietnam,
yep.
or we was the end of Vietnam for us, basically. So I was too young to remember any of the Vietnam stuff, so I don't remember any of that. And then we didn't have a war until we went to Desert Storm in 1988. So basically, from my first 20 years of my life, we were no war.
But personally, not this great big picture. Personally, how great is your life?
Right now,
Yeah.
I don't have a private jet. My life's great.
Okay, that's all that you need to focus on.
Yeah, I have and I do.
It doesn't sound like it. It's been an hour and 31 minutes and 40 seconds of you just belly aching.
Well, I'm really
Belly aching.
I'm this shit in the big cities is really pissing me off.
You don't live in the big city.
I know I don't, but it pisses me off that we keep making excuses for what
Well-
the problem is, and we sugarcoat the problem.
You've got a great life.
Yes, it is.
The business is great. The podcast is growing. Right now, everything's cherry.
Yep. But
So,
why can't I
don't-
be sad for my other Americans? that are
I
living
don't
in
know
that
of
shit?
anybody that's suffering. Do you know anybody that's suffering from this right now? Anybody? Of all the people that you know, is anybody saying, you're like, fucking shit, this place, I'm getting carjacked on the daily, I'm getting rolled over at the ATM store. Do you know anybody personally? And you know a lot of people. Do you know anybody personally that is suffering right now?
No, but I also look at the bigger picture than that. And I know there's a lot of people that are. And it makes me mad that we don't talk about what the problem is. And that's what the problem is. The problem is in these big cities, we have black on black crime that they don't ever want to talk about. They don't ever want to talk about it. And that's the problem we're having. And they are ruining society in these big cities. And I feel so sorry for the innocent black people that have to live in this shit.
Then
I
I'll
do.
tell you what you do. I've got your solution. You ready?
Yeah, I can't
Are you
wait
ready?
Cannot wait to hear this.
Okay. You just do you.
I do me
Just
all the
do
time.
you. That's it. Control the things you can control. Be happy the sun came up.
We have a podcast to talk about stuff, so I'm talking about stuff.
The sun came up today. I got dicked by turkeys again. They've been very uncooperative. 2 toms, 6 hens come out. And, there's no playing with them. Sun came up today. That wasn't a guarantee. I'm healthy. You're relatively healthy. And we got vehicles. We got houses. We got roof over our head. Fridges are full of shit. Life's great.
I'm not. Everything you're saying is right, but I'm looking at the bigger picture because there's a lot of people living in squalor right now. A lot of people can't afford to buy milk. A lot of people can't afford to buy eggs if they can find them. I feel sorry. The world is not right now. Let me tell you something.
never gonna be
Let me
right.
ask you a question.
It's never going to be right.
Joe Kennedy.
Never going to be right.
Joe Kennedy. We know who that is, right? John's dad.
Yep.
Okay. Joe Kennedy. Piece of shit. Would you probably agree with me on that one? Evil man.
He came from a rough background.
Joe Kennedy.
But did he do what he had to do to survive in the times?
Hold on. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
During the Depression.
Well, you asked me.
Joe Kennedy's living in Hyannisport, Massachusetts, has a house, lives in Boston, New York, has mistresses. Was his life good?
I'm sure he was pretty proud of it.
Okay. Was life good then? No. So just because your life's good doesn't mean other people aren't struggling and you can feel sorry for them or feel bad for them.
What's the guy with Joe Kennedy?
Just
don't
use an
understand.
example. You're using me because my life's pretty good, so I shouldn't feel bad for other people. I do feel bad for other people. There's a lot of people that are struggling right now in these big towns. Businesses are closing down. Well, the example, Walmart in Chicago, they're closing the thing down. Hold on.
You feel bad for Walmart
No,
now.
no. I don't feel bad for Walmart.
Walmart is
Hold
your...
on.
Okay, you
I
go
hate
ahead.
Walmart. I don't go to Walmart.
Okay. You're feeling bad for...
I feel sorry for somebody that works at Walmart, though. In those towns, in those areas, there's not very many fucking jobs anyways. They're losing their jobs because of these feral kids keep tearing shit up and stealing all the time. I feel sorry for that lady. There are good people in those neighborhoods that are trying their best that are stuck. They can't get out of them.
Leave.
They can't.
Fuck, why?
You can't move.
Why can't you?
hold-
Sell your piece of
I'm
shit. Get rid of your piece of shit apartment in
Okay.
Chicago. Go to Schaumburg where things are great. They're opening a new Walmart in Schaumburg. Get a fucking job there. It's 20 minutes. What are you talking about? You're the same guy that
Let
was
me
telling...
finish.
No, you're the same guy that was telling these people to pull themselves up by them bootstraps and get a nuclear family back and bust their kids' asses. I've moved a couple times in my life, not as many times as a lot of people have. It's
When
pretty
the fuck have you moved?
I moved to Lubbock and back, Jeff.
You went to college.
It's pretty
That's
fucking
not
simple.
moving.
It's pretty fucking simple.
Yeah, because if you needed something, who was going to pay for
you
it?
pick your shit up, or you just fucking leave it. Either way.
And then where did you move to?
Moved to Knox City,
Where'd you live at?
the Skunk House.
At the lodge.
But
How
that's-
much was your rent?
But that's not what I'm saying.
That-
You're telling me that people are going to pay less rent in Schaumburg? It's great there.
No, they're going to pay
rent.
more rent.
Low rent, Jeff. It's
No,
a
it's
low
not.
rent district.
Hold on.
I love Schaumburg.
I'm going to give you
Shout out to
I'm
Schaumburg.
going to give you an example right here in our area.
It's easy to leave.
Hold on.
It's easy to leave.
I'm going to explain to you how hard it is to leave.
Bounce.
Okay, here it is.
Okay.
First of all, you have money in the bank and you've got a savings account, and you and your wife both make a good living.
Sure.
So you can afford to move somewhere if you needed to.
Where's this fucking cost coming
Oh,
from?
hold on. Hold on.
You're talking $50 for a moving truck?
Hold on. No, to move in. Okay, here you go. First of all, you don't know what it's like to be poor. That's
No,
your
I
problem.
don't.
Okay.
I don't.
That's a good problem
but
to
I
have.
can fucking move.
That's because you're not poor. Because you're not poor.
God.
Okay. You go to Quanah, Texas right now.
Okay.
Georgia Pacific had a gypsum factory. They just shut
They
down.
just shut her down.
They moved that factory to Sweetwater, Texas.
And they told everybody that they've got a job. in
You gonna let me
Sweetwater,
finish,
Texas.
Michelle, or are you just gonna keep talking over me?
Go ahead.
Let me get you some wine too.
I would love a glass
Okay.
of wine after this fucking thing.
Okay. And those people can move to Sweetwater and have their job. Okay. They own a house. They've worked for 20 years for this company. They own a house in Quanah, Texas. All of a sudden, 360 people lose a job in Quanah, Texas, and they're supposed to sell their house. Who's going to buy their house in Quanah?
That is an isolated incident.
No,
no.
it's the same thing as the people in Walmart. These
it's
people that
not.
live in Walmart own a house. You can't get nothing for your house because nobody else wants to move to the fucking ghetto where it's shit.
Well,
And then you're going to move to a more expensive neighborhood that's got house is going to cost you more. They've lived their whole life in their house. They can sell their house now for $30,000, but to go move to Schaumburg, it's going to cost them $100,000. They don't have the money.
that's why they should have rented the whole
You
time.
should have been a fucking Democratic politician
They
because
should
you have
have-
no fucking clue
they
what
should
it's
have-
like to be poor.
They
but
should
you
have
tell
rented.
people.
They should have rented. Listen, buying a house is one of the worst things you can do in a big city. It's awful. Housing, listen, houses were made for the fucking bank. That's the only thing that houses were made for. And they sold it. They sold the American public a dumb idea.
Do you own your house?
I do.
Okay, I do
but,
too.
But I'm in a different scenario. If I was in the city, rent, baby.
But you understand the city life.
Rent, baby.
Have you
Fuck
ever lived in
yeah.
the city?
Lubbock, Texas.
not a city.
And you know what I did in Lubbock? I rented.
Yeah, because you're
I
a poor
rented.
college kid.
No, I rented because it was a smart financial thing. I could drop of a hat.
I thought you had a 6-month lease on that thing.
I'll leave. Oh, fuck, Jeff. Pish posh. I'll walk out of that fucking lease. They won't even know
yeah,
where
your
I
younger
went.
brother did that in Lubbock, and it cost me $1,000.
Won't even know where. I don't even know where. I'll leave my fucking nasty ass couch there too. But that's the thing. Houses were made for the banks. You know what? The banks, they got to spend your money, right? That's what.
I'm
That's
listening
what.
I'm
They,
listening to you explain this to me about poor people in Chicago. Now we're
they
talking
should
about
rent.
banks.
They should rent.
They can't afford
But
$200
they
or
were-
$300 extra
but-
dollars a month.
But
That's
they
what
were sold this bad batch of goods, like, oh, the American dream is you got to buy a house. It's not the American dream. Fuck off.
Andy, some of those people that've been there for 20 and 30 years, when they first bought a house, the neighborhoods weren't like what they're in decay now.
Well, you got to read the tea leaves, Jeff.
Shit.
Read the tea leaves.
You would have made a good Democratic politician because you
Why?
absolutely have no fucking clue what your voters are talking about. Those people, you don't know what it's. Those people don't have no money to buy nothing. They don't have nobody in their family to borrow money from. They don't have nobody to help them out. And they're stuck there. And they're stuck in these places, just like those people in Quanah.
Well, Jeff,
They can't sell their homes because there's not a market to buy their house. Then to move to Sweetwater, their house is going to cost twice of what they have now, and they're going to have a mortgage, and they've paid their house off. I feel sorry for people like that. I do. And I think it's an older thing. When we get older, we see about people's struggles.
you're
and we
the
notice
same
more.
motherfucker that just an hour ago was telling people to pull themselves out of their bootstraps and be more responsible.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't say fucking move and go to Schaumburg.
Well,
I
Schaumburg's
said
where it's
fucking raise
at.
your fucking kids.
but you
every
can't-
neighborhood needs old people to be fucking nosy.
You can't have both arguments. It's not possible.
What is that arguing about me saying that people need to fucking help pick themselves up? I didn't
Okay.
say they had to move.
Now you're in a bad situation. You're in a bad situation. Jobs have moved out. Crime's moved in. What's the responsible thing to do here? Stay? What's the response? No, seriously.
I said
What's the responsible thing
we
to
had
do
two different
here?
things we was talking about. First,
No, it's all
Hold on.
under the same umbrella
Take
of
your-
argument.
if you got kids, start raising them.
Okay.
That's the first thing you do. Teach them respect. Teach them about the law. Teach them about law and order. There's nothing wrong with telling a black kid to be careful around a white cop. Just do what they tell you to do. There's yet to be one get shot that wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. Tells you to do something, do it. You can let a judge figure it out later. Okay? Got no problem with that. Raise your kids. Be respectful. Get them in church. I feel sorry for the people that work at these places that are closing. Do I blame Walmart for leaving? Fuck no. I didn't ever open some bitch up in the first place. Would I shut the doors down? Yes. But I still feel sorry for the people that work there that are trying to work. You're taking jobs out of an area that don't even have jobs anyways, and they're doing it because of all the theft. And I don't blame the companies. Okay, go ahead.
I thought this was a utopia 30 years ago with bountiful job opportunities. Now all of a sudden there's nothing there.
There's not many jobs because everybody's leaving these areas because of all the crime. Flint, Michigan. I'm glad you brought this up.
Never been there. Heard the water's nice.
Yeah. 200,000 people lived there in 1970. 190,000 lived there in 1980. Now they have 85,000 people live there.
That fucking water crisis, Jeff. Where'd all these people go?
Let me finish.
Where'd they go?
All right, Michelle, let me finish. They had General Motors. It was the car capital of the world where they made cars and stuff. All those people and all those jobs left when they started taking jobs overseas and everywhere else on the car deals. Union jobs, all that stuff. In 1980, Flint, Michigan was the highest, was the voted best place to live in America, had the highest median income of any city in America, I think at about $85,000 a year. In 1980, that was a lot of money in a family. Nowadays, I think their median income is about $26,000 a year. Those jobs have left there. There's not a lot of opportunity there right now. Well, it's like a lot of places, things happen and a cycle happens. There's probably some people in Flint, Michigan that still live very well off and have great lives, but there's a lot of people, they're squalor and there's nowhere to move into. There's not a lot of jobs there. That's the same thing that's happening in Chicago now, but these gangs and these thugs are taking over these places and they're ruining it. And now they're running off what businesses they do have. I still feel sorry for people that are stuck in these situations because not everybody can sell their house and go to buy. Sure, I'm telling you right now in South Side of Chicago, if people could leave there and move to Knox City and live in a house and have a job and live for even Steven, a lot of them would do it, but they can't do it. And I feel for the people like that. An old widowed woman that's been there her whole life, her and her husband worked hard, saved money, bought them a house, lived, and all of a sudden their neighbors are surrounded by crackheads on both sides of the house. I feel sorry for those people.
That's like Gran Torino.
Same thing.
Exact same
and it's
thing.
happening in a lot of places. And I
Well-
feel sorry for those people. But do I blame the businesses for leaving there? No. Have you ever noticed the quality of businesses on the shitty side of town compared to the good sides of town? Do you think there's a crumble cookie in a shitty side of town anywhere in America?
Mm-mm.
That's right. But who else can afford to spend $50 for 12 cookies?
These people.
Who are these people? Who are these people? Who are those people?
Those single women and men that are in their 80s. They shouldn't have been so bullheaded 20 years ago. They should have seen like, oh, my neighborhood, it's crumbling. I got to get to Schaumburg.
I'm telling you what,
2002?
I don't know a shit about Schaumburg, but you've helped them out more than anybody ever.
2002? You could have got a house, pennies on the dollar in Schaumburg, or an apartment you could have rented.
Every time we
Or
do a
Edison
podcast
Park.
like this, we get called out on shit. You're getting pictures of the ghettos of Schaumburg is coming. I'm telling you.
Edison Park. We got to go to Edison
Is
Park.
that the nicest neighborhood there?
I think that's what we talked about earlier.
that is the nice neighborhood in Chicago.
I think that was the one that we looked at earlier, wasn't it?
I bet they got a crumble cookie there.
I bet they got 3. You got to read the tea leaves.
So if you lived in Buckhead, Georgia, would you leave right now?
Where's Buckhead, Georgia?
Buckhead's outside of Atlanta. It's the town that's trying to get out of Atlanta because of all the problems.
Fuck yeah. If you're in Buckhead, sell while you can.
You should.
Sell while you
Yes.
can. Read the tea leaves, Jeff. These people would have never made great investors because they're not forward thinkers. You got to be a forward thinker. Your house is an investment. Your life is an investment.
Boy, I'm fixing to trump you on this.
Think of,
How have you done on your investment on your house in Knox City? Is
Forward
it just going up
thinking.
in value every year?
yeah, I could sell it for fucking 4 times what I bought it for.
How much have you got in it, though?
I could sell it for 4 times what yeah.
No, you couldn't.
I could double what I put in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And buy another place in Knox City?
Great investment. No, go to Schaumburg. Edison Park,
What do
that's
you-
where I'm headed.
Tea leaf reader. 20 years from now, when you're my age, what do you think that house
I need
in
to
Knox
sell
City?
now.
Same with me. We've got all the money we've got tied up in our house. I could probably make $100,000 maybe off of it.
I better sell
But if
now.
I lived it in, if it was in a nice neighborhood in Dallas, I could make a lot of money off my place. But you also,
Jeff, my job's keeping
you
me
also
here.
live a great. That's right. Same as those people have.
My job's keeping me here. I can't move
You're in a lot better situation than I am neighborhood wise, though.
for now.
Oh, your neighborhood will never get as shitty as mine has gotten.
I got to buy all the houses next to me. That's my forward thinking. Just buy the block. Bulldoze it all.
There's
Just
one
be
house
me,
down
just
there.
Be me
Yep.
standing down there.
Yeah,
You
but
don't even. I'm gonna have signs.
Yeah, but the
Have
house.
cameras.
The house next to you is the one I would be worried about.
Why? It's
The,
gonna
the
fall
one,
in.
The one to the west of you.
Yeah, it's gonna fall in.
Yeah, and once that happens, it's look the one to the north of me.
What do you mean? It's just gonna fall in.
Well, the one to the
It'll
north
be
of me
be
basically
be
is.
empty lot.
Do they not ever go there?
No. It's empty. Just gonna cave in around.
One of these days, you're going to look outside and there's going to be a moving truck going in there. And you're going to be like,
Nah.
oh, shit.
Not me. I'm a forward thinker.
And you better buy that thing.
Buy it.
Have you asked her about selling it to you?
No, that's what I do though, Jeff. I come in and I flip these houses. I'm a mogul like Donald Trump. He was a forward thinker.
Within 2 years, you're
He
going
was a
to hear me
forward
on this
thinker.
podcast say, how's them new neighbors working out, Andy?
He was a forward thinker.
He was.
Always 2 steps ahead. That's what you got to be in investments.
Nah, because he let Dr. Fauci fuck him over.
And he's let a lot of people.
Yeah, he had a lot of faith in people around him, and that turned out to bite him in the ass. Trust me, the old saying is there's a lot of good men have went to Washington, D.C., and there's very few good men left.
That's right.
And that's a lot of truth to that shit.
Words to live by.
Yep. So, anyways, well, Mr. Democratic politician, you'd be a great alderman in Chicago.
I don't see why you think that.
Make excuses for everybody else. Just
Haven't-
move. Just move. That's all you got to do. Just go and leave.
Personal responsibility. If you don't like where you are, leave. Nobody's keeping you there.
That's
It's that simple.
people that have money can do that. People without money can't. I've been that person.
Oh, so
before. I know.
now we're tugging at the heartstrings of people that don't
I'm
have
not
money.
tugging it on our
Yeah,
heartstrings
you
at
are.
all.
You
I'm
were
just
all
telling you,
about personal responsibility earlier, and now
it
all
don't
of a
cost
sudden,
no money to raise your kids
and
right.
now, oh yes, it does.
No, it does
too.
not either.
Oh,
To
my
teach your kids
goodness.
manners,
Oh,
there is
it's
never,
expensive.
there's not a church in the world that's got an
Because,
admission gate.
and I'll tell you why you're going to send your kids to those pedophiles.
To a church?
Oh,
Whoa,
ripe,
whoa, whoa,
ripe
whoa.
with pedophilia.
So your church has got pedophilia running deal?
They go with me. They're not going out of my. They're not going
I
out
said
of my
take your kids to
eyesight.
church. I didn't say send them in the door and walk off and leave them.
No, that's
So
better.
you don't trust your church if you
I don't
weren't
trust
there.
anybody. Nobody.
That's sad.
Not a soul. Just me.
Well, I've been to your church. I didn't see any people that'd make me worry about pedophilia.
No. I don't think so either. But I'm not going to put my kids in a situation where something could arise. I trust nobody. Nobody.
You leave them with us all the time.
You're obligated to take care of them.
So we're obligated. So you trust my
Yeah.
obligation.
But no, I don't. Fuck, I'm not sending my kids with a
I
bunch
didn't
of.
say send your kids to church. I said go to church. I said there's not an admission gate church. I said it doesn't cost nothing to raise your kids. It doesn't.
It does
to teach
too.
your kids manners and stuff. No, it don't.
You know what it
costs
costs you?
money to do extracurricular things, but to teach your kids manners and be respectful and take them to church, that doesn't cost a dime.
I'll tell you what it costs you.
Tell
You've
me.
got to be present. And a lot of these poor people in Chicago, they're working day and night, trying to keep the lights on, trying to keep food on the
Those
table.
kids running over the streets and shit. That wasn't the parents are
and
coming
they can't.
from.
They can't. Because the cost of living is too high.
Yes,
so
they
now
could-
all of a sudden, this poor mom is having to take on a third shift before her second shift. She ain't got no time to raise her kids, Jeff. That's what it costs you.
Andy has
She's-
officially joined the Democratic Party because you
she-
sound like a Democrat. Bullshit
She's
on all that
keeping the
shit.
lights on.
She fucking can work one job and get off her fucking iPhone a little bit and
Oh,
spend
no.
time with her kids.
Have you
Yes.
seen what rent's doing in Chicago? About like Schaumburg. Not as bad. Jeff, these people got to keep the lights on.
Yeah, well, they need to raise their kids.
Well, what's more important?
Well, bail money, because that's what they need to save their
Well,
money for, to bail them little fuckers out. Because what's going to happen is they're either going to have to bail them out or they're going to have to bury them, because those kids are going to rob somebody and act the way they did the other night, and somebody's going to shoot their ass. If that was my Tesla and I saw them fuckers doing it, that's a horrible thing to put yourself in that situation. But they attacked some guy
don't
and him
know
and his
that.
wife, a tourist, was walking around. Shoot them fuckers.
Well, they can't, Jeff.
I know. That's the problem.
You can't carry a pistol in Chicago.
Yeah, only the bad people. For a town that has that deal, they have about 30 shootings a week.
They've got that figured out.
I
The only people shooting people in our town is our people.
Yeah, in Flint, Michigan, I watched a deal on it. That's why I know, and I've been reading up on it. You know, a town like Shreveport will have 34 murders out of 100,000 people. A town like Memphis, somewhere around the same thing. I think New Orleans is the worst, and I think it was like 48 murders per 100,000 people. Flint, Michigan, 128. That's terrible.
That's what happens when the infrastructure goes away.
It
But that's
does.
what happens when people are stuck at zero and there's no opportunity. Crime.
I'm not saying about the opportunity, because you're right
Crime.
on that stuff. You're right.
I know I'm right, Jeff.
But that was a community that was a good middle class town in 70s and 80s, and then the car company started leaving and going to other places and stuff. And I don't blame GM and stuff. I mean, if you can go make something cheaper, I understand that. But we need to get back making more stuff in America, and we're upside down on all that shit again now. And the world's changing. Everything's going off the dollar.
You just told me that wasn't a big deal earlier, so
What's no. Let me
typical
rephrase that.
Republican talking out of both sides of his mouth.
No, as the world goes, our trade's going to be different because of it. But we could make stuff in America. America could be self-sustained. We just pay a little bit more. But fuck, we're paying more now. You don't think we could be?
No.
Why?
Because there's too many fucking lazy people.
Well,
and
that's
nobody
true.
wants to pay a whole bunch of money for something that they. I don't want to pay $75 for a car when I can have it made somewhere else for $50. Like that's what
Have
it
you
is.
bought a new car lately?
I think that's what my new one cost a couple years ago.
Just it's a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's right.
Well, now they're 6 figures. It's
Hope this one doesn't break. I'll never get another.
the
new
next
one.
brand new pickup you buy is going to cost you $80,000.
Oh,
Someone told me the price one the other day was 96.
jeez. I know Blake's. His was like $250,000.
Huh?
I don't know. Blake's got that farming money though.
Yeah. Kick the can down the road.
big time. But
Why do you think Mom has a new one and I drive an old one?
yeah.
We can only afford one new one, but they're expensive.
But I would love, I don't give a shit. I don't want to pay all that. Just have somebody else do it. Plus, like we're too lazy here to find anybody to do it.
You
so-
can't find nobody to work here.
No.
I mean, you can obviously go to any store in the country and figure that shit out from
That's
a
right.
Target to a Walmart. Nobody wants to work.
That's right. You think they want to stand in a hot Ford factory making bumpers? No, nobody wants to do that.
And what they don't understand,
Even
is
though it pays well,
benefits
like it'd be a
and
great
jobs.
job for a lot of people, like you said, with the benefits and the hours and the vacation. Like a lot of these big companies are very friendly to work for. It's just got to find fucking people to do it.
Yeah, there's not a lot of jobs here no more at all. I think the union's got a lot to do with that too. And the union's got some demands and qualities, but high demands. And I'm going to piss off some of our northern guys that are big union people. But when you go to a company and you want a job that should pay $35 an hour, but the union wants $50 an hour, and the union's making $5 an hour, that 30, that 50, well, they're 10% of your money's going to a union that votes Democrat and votes against everything you stand for all the time. And I've never understood that for all unions. I think the unions had a great place in our country, and I think there's still some good from it. But most of the times, in my experiences in Texas, when the unions have gotten involved, it's made things worse.
Well,
and we don't have very many unions here.
just like I said, you get to hell 1 inch at a time. The union, I think probably most government programs were probably started for very wholesome reasons.
I think you're right.
But it is, well, we got this, now let's just get this. And then 30 years down the line, you don't even recognize that.
Give them an inch, they want a mile.
anymore. But I think a lot of these things started at a very wholesome level, and let's be for the betterment of the individual. And, I don't want to see people taken advantage of. I want to see a safe work environment. I don't want people working, until they can't even stand up anymore. I want safe environments, helmets, shit like that. OSHA. I think OSHA is
Started out as a great
started
thing.
out great. Now they're fucking pain in the ass for a lot of people because they micromanage you.
Tony worked for a plumber right when he got out of high school, a neighbor guy, and they would get calls to go to the GM plant and not Wichita Falls, which is closed down now. But they would go to the GM plant, and this guy was a plumber, and he had a really good plumbing business, but he loved getting them GM jobs.
I bet.
And they'd move a machine.
Yeah.
And they move a machine, then he'd plumb it. Well, he would go to the plumber's office and General Motors, and the guy would be sitting on his ass eating donuts. He said, what do you want me to do today? We need you to do this job, this job, this job. Okay, it's going to be about 12 hours. That's fine, no problem at all. For 12 hours, their plumber sat on his ass and didn't do shit because it was an outside job, and so
Right.
he'd get somebody else to do it. And so he was making $50 an hour, $100,000 a year being the GM plumber, but he was calling an outside plumber to do the fucking work because he didn't want to do it. Because the plumber, you say, this is the most fucked up deal ever. He goes, they're paying me my wages, which was probably $35 an hour,
Right.
and paying $5 for a helper like Tony an hour in 1987 or 88. And the guy making $50 an hour was sitting on his fucking ass, and they were paying both of them. But that's the problem with the union deal. It didn't start out that way.
Just goes too
but
far.
it just kept
You
going.
get
and going
there
and going.
one little step at a time. Just like the Nazis, they weren't putting the Jews and the Gypsies in the oven right away. Had to build up to that.
And they got a new movie about Anne Frank coming out.
Really?
Yep, I just been seeing it advertised on maybe Paramount or somewhere. It was on something I was flipping, and I've seen it 2 times on.
But that's not where you start. That's just
Where it gets to.
That's just where it can get to if it goes unchecked.
We went from gay marriage to transgender shit in about 7-8 years, and we went way, way, way to the side now.
It's because we have. You gotta. That's my big thing with Bud Light. It's not that Bud Light did it. I don't. It could be any company, and I understand that Bud Light makes a lot of stuff, but there's gonna come a time where enough is enough.
Well, I think they've crossed that.
Well, and that's the thing is like the line is arbitrary. It's just whatever the individual wants it to be. It could have been 10 moves ago. It could have been gay marriage for some people. For me, it's the Bud Light is the line.
Yeah,
and I understand. I've got the guy that. What about iPhones and all this other bullshit? I understand, but I can also decide where I do my business, and I guess what devil I will allow in my life. But
I'm not a big beer drinker.
Well, I'm not either.
But me and Mom went and ate Mexican food the other night, and we went to the place in Stanford.
Any Bud Light on the table?
I always get the frozen mug of beer.
Yeah.
And that's the only time I drink beer. It's an ice cold frozen mug, and I get it dressed, which is lime pulp and salt on the rim. I was like, hell yeah, go over and have me a beer. So I told that lady, I said, I'd like a beer. I said, what do you have on draft? We've got Budweiser, Bud Light, and Michelob Ultra. I go, you not have any products that's not Anheuser-Busch? She goes, no. I said, well, I'm not. I said, well, I won't have a beer then. She goes, well, we have other beer on bottles. We just don't have it. And I ended up getting a Miller Lite.
Right.
Not a fan. But I had a Miller Lite because I'm not going to drink a Bud product. Am I going to bankrupt Bud, me drinking 2 beers a month? No.
Nope.
Not at all. But guys like me add up. If there's 100,000 guys like me, that's 200,000 beers a month they're not selling.
Mm-hmm.
And they obviously have a lot of people like me, but then they're big beer drinkers they've lost, because I have asked 4 people that I know that are in the bar business right now, and every one of them said their Bud Light stuff is nobody's buying it. And I saw somebody on Facebook that lives in a small town up in the Panhandle said you cannot buy Coors Light at the Allsups there. All Coors products are sold out. Said nobody's bought Bud. Bud's sitting there right now. They're having to pick it up because I guess there's a expiration date on it.
And I feel bad for the guy that's having to peddle that shit.
Same as I did the Walmart guy. I feel sorry for the guy that works at Budweiser. He didn't make the stupid situation. That lady did. And I agree. I'm John. Is it John Rich from Big and Rich?
Yeah.
His bar in Nashville, their number 1 selling product was Bud Light. They took all Bud products out of their bar.
This article is cherry picking. It says AB InBev, Anheuser-Busch InBev stock is up 10% over the year.
Yeah, but what's it in the last 15 days?
But this whole article is saying Bud courts controversy, the stock market doesn't care. It's trying to say that, well, Anheuser-Busch InBev is up 10% in the last 52 weeks. Well, it might have been up fucking 30%.
Well, they've lost $8 billion in value in the last 2 weeks. And that was updated this morning, I think. People have had it. They're not doing it. I'm proud of them. They need to stick to this on more products. Just like they took Aunt Jemima off the pancake box.
Right.
And now they're going to put RuPaul on it. So an older black lady that I don't know how it's racist by having her on there. Her family was making money off of that. But we're going to put a black transgender on there. And that's going to make me want to go get fucking pancakes. I don't think they understand. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't give 2 fucks about transgenders. Do you? Honestly, I don't.
No.
I don't give 2 shits. And most people I know don't give 2 shits. Gay marriage, I don't care about. If you're gay and you want to get married, knock yourself out. I don't care about that. I don't dislike you because you're gay, and I don't dislike you because you're transgender. I can live with you being gay. Transgender, that's fucking weird. And I ain't got no part of it. I don't want to be around nobody like that. I don't get it, but I don't care.
Budweiser's going back up. It was a month ago, $66, went to 63, and now it's back up to 65.
Yeah, it'll go back down again. The long-term play is going to kill them. They're fixing to eat a lot of beer that's on expiration dates.
That's true, too.
A lot. And they're going to eat a lot of it because their people just ain't drinking it. And that's Bud Light, Budweiser, Michelob Ultra, all those. And I know a lot of beer drinkers, and I have yet to see very many. Someone got the casino order a Bud the other day, and I was going to say something to him, but he's like, I think I'll have a Budweiser. And I was like, he's probably on their team, so I'm just going to let him go.
He can have it.
But I've made comments to other people. You know, they support transgender kids. They want your grandkid to be around a guy wearing a dress. That's where you hit the old person. You talk about the grandkids.
Leave the kids alone.
Yep, that's it right there. You know, if you want to wear a dress, knock yourself out.
Don't put it on Disney.
No, don't go
Don't
around.
put it on
kids.
Nickelodeon.
Do you remember the?
Don't have these drag shows where it's 7, 8, and 9-year-olds. Like, just stop. That's too much.
It's weird, and there's no sense for it.
It's too much.
I can't believe that someone can't come out with a kids movie or cartoon that can be just old fashioned.
We watched the new Mario, and it didn't have anything in it.
That's good.
And John Leguizamo was pissed off because it did not have a Mexican voice. He's boycotting the movie. It did not have enough diversity for him.
John Leguizamo is Mexico. Mario and Luigi are Italians.
Well, it had 2 white guys with voices. So,
What
2 Anglo-Americans.
What about?
He's pissed. He's but I think he played Luigi in one of the movies. So
he's mad he didn't get the role.
Well,
Fuck, he's not Italian. As an Italian, why they got a Mexican doing it?
Well, Jeff,
You know?
I don't know.
If we do Dora the Explorer, they should have a Mexican lady doing it, not an Italian lady.
I agree.
Or is Dora Hawaiian?
I don't remember.
I think she's Hawaiian. No, she's Mexican. It was the other one that was Hawaiian. God dang, what was the name of that damn deal with that little fucking furry little fucker? What about bring back a Donald Duck commercial or Mickey Mouse? Little kids would love that shit. You know, wholesome type. You know, Mickey was hanging out with Minnie. He wasn't married to her. Donald has nephews. They were bastards, I guess, because we didn't know where their mom was. But it was funny. They weren't politically correct all the time. But man, we're too politically correct in this world right now, anyways.
Yeah, 93 played Luigi.
Who did? John
Leguizamo.
Who played the other one?
Bob Hoskin. I don't.
See a white guy?
Yeah,
Did he bitch then? Nope. He just makes. He didn't get the role.
that was him. I've seen him in some stuff, but
I
anyway.
don't know. I'm not watching that shit anyways. My grandkids liked it, and if they did, I'm happy with them.
There was nothing bad in it except for the edible mushrooms.
Well.
You know, taking the guys for a ride.
Well.
Here we go. We're talking about watching magic mushrooms on the big screen.
All right. Well, anyways, this is our second podcast for the week. We got Jay Peterson with Dirty Duck Coffee will be on with us later in the week, and Andy's football coach, high school football coach Wayne Hutchinson, will be our guest. Probably starting next week. That'll probably come out on Monday, I bet. And Wayne's a hell of a story. Local kid, Knox City, won state championship as quarterback. Went off to college. Fast white boy. Played college football. Come back and coached. Coached Andy, turned our program into a top 10 program, left to go to Stanford, won a couple state championships, has just recently retired, is a very good guy, kind of guy you'd want your daughter to marry. Thank God I didn't have a daughter. Anyways, thank y'all for listening to us. God bless y'all and have a great week.
Go check out the Looking Glass Podcast, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, Mossberg, Boss Shot Shells, Dive Bomb Industries, Pacific Calls, Gundog Outdoors, Shin Gear, Lucky Duck, Dirty Duck Coffee, Ducks Unlimited, and Double T British Kennels.